Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salam ala rasulillah. Welcome to another episode of Haqiqatjou, where we discuss religion and politics, the two least controversial subjects. As always, I'm your host, Daniel Haqiqatjou. And today we have a great episode for you, reacting to the latest American Islam culture slop. It's quite disturbing how bad things are really getting when it comes to so-called American Islam. And we want to react to a new show that is being really pushed on social media, being pushed even by mainstream media. It's on a major broadcasting network within the United States about Muslims and matchmaking, and these two hijabi Muslim women that go and try to match up Muslims and gives them advice on dating and basically how to find love. So a lot of cringe-worthy material. We're going to react to this, and we're going to diagnose like what really is the problem with American Islam, like so-called American Islam. What is really causing this very fast devolution, this really sudden collapse of basic Islamic values that we see? What is really causing that? Is there an agenda? So we're going to react to that and give analysis, inshallah. And I also want to talk about some other issues, mainly about Ramadan. So we're going to get into Ramadan as well. We're in day 6 of the month, alhamdulillah. And there has been a lot of non-Muslim criticism, non-Muslim critique and insults against Muslims on social media. They've figured out some new lines to use against Muslims, some new memes that we're going to talk about, like, oh, Ramadan just means skipping lunch. Ramadan means skipping lunch. So we're going to react to that nonsense, and maybe I'll give a kind of a rant at some point. But before we get into those topics, don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed already. And also don't forget to subscribe to our newsletter. The newsletter is very important because if for some reason we get taken off of social media because, some feminist is not going to like my reaction to this matchmaking show, you're going to take the channel down, we have to be able to contact you through your email. So please give us your email address, and it's an amana, and we'll only use it for contacting you with information that you want. You can unsubscribe at any time, inshallah. The link is in the description below. I'm also going to be looking at super chats. So if you have any kind of comment that you want prioritized, as long as it's relevant, as long as it's respectful, I will, inshallah, read and respond to your super chats periodically throughout the show. So please contribute, as that helps with the production and the maintenance of Haqiqatjou. Great. So let's talk about Ramadan. And does Ramadan mean just skipping lunch? I mean, the audacity of Christians or Jews or Hindus saying this. They say, oh, you Muslims, you make a big deal about fasting for 30 days, but you eat suhoor, you have this early pre-dawn meal, and you have iftar, so that's basically like dinner, so you have 2 meals and you're just skipping lunch. That's all that Ramadan is. So big whoop, big deal. There's nothing special about fasting in Ramadan. And the audacity of these people to say this when they have nothing similar to Islam. They have nothing similar in terms of fasting. And I'll explain exactly what I mean by that, because the Christians and the Jews and these other groups will start LARPing, and they'll say, no, whoa, we have fasting too. We have fasting. We have similar things. We have Lent. We have atonement. Is this true? And I was looking into some of their traditions, like some of these Christian groups, uh, fasting for them, it's shocking. Like fasting means that you have a lighter 2 meals of the day. So you have one big meal and then you have 2 lighter meals, and you don't eat any like snacks in between. You can have water, but just no snacks. This is this is the hardcore fasting. This is the hardcore fasting that some of these Christians are doing. Like it's 3 meals a day. It's still 3 meals a day, but just 2 of the meals. Just try go a little bit lighter on the other 2 meals. Just try to go a little bit lighter, and that's fasting. That's hardcore fasting for us. And then they have something called abstinence. You have to be abstinent. Don't eat the meats. You can't eat meat. Only fish, but no meat. You can have eggs. You can have just no meat. For on Fridays, for example, or someone say Friday and Wednesday, or Friday, Wednesday, and Monday. That's hardcore fasting. Like you're abstinent or you're partially abstinent. So eating 3 meals, but just making the meals a little bit lighter, 2 of the meals a little bit lighter, that's fasting. Yeah, Muslims have that too. Like that's the kind of fast that my 5-year-old was doing. It's like what we call, if you translate it in Farsi, we call it like a Tweety bird fast. Like you're still getting your 3 squares a day, but you're just not having snacks. Like that's what our 3, 4, and 5-year-old kind of fasting that is done. But this is like hardcore fasting amongst the sects within Christianity, apparently. So, but still, like these Christians, and again, I'm only talking like this because they're attacking Muslims. I don't really want to be criticizing these other religious practices. If they have some connection to religion, overall, that's going to be better for society than if they all become hardcore atheists, as they are becoming, in droves. But I'm only responding to what they're saying and mocking Muslims. That's have to respond. Like, let's be real. Like, let's not get deluded. Like, maybe don't think that you have something there as a critique of Islam. But these people just don't get it. They don't get what makes fasting for Muslims different. Because it's actually not the time that you're not eating or drinking. Muslims are not eating or drinking prior to dawn and all the way until sunset. No eating, drinking, etc. No physical, satisfying your physical urges for that period. It's not really about the time period. It's not really about depriving yourself, like as if it's a health kind of fast. Because that's become popular in the culture, is like, oh, I'm doing a dry fast, I'm doing a water fast for weight loss or for some kind of health benefit. It's like a health trend. That's not what Ramadan is about. Yeah, there are health benefits to fasting, but that's not the purpose. And as any Muslim will tell you, the purpose of fasting is that this is what God has said. This is what Allah has said. Our Creator has told us at this specific time, stop eating and drinking. And at this specific time, you may resume. And your Creator has commanded you to do this. And Muslims, we hear and we obey. We hear and we obey. We submit. And that's what makes Muslims different. We are slaves. We are slaves. And even when I say that word, people who have been indoctrinated by liberalism and secularism, like all of these Christians, Jews, Hindus, Buddhists, and unfortunately some secular Muslims, they cringe at that word. Oh, being a slave? No, I'm a free person. I'm free. No, in Islam, we are slaves. We obey, we hear, and we obey. So when our Lord, our Creator, says stop eating at this time, we stop. Stop drinking at this time, we stop. You may resume at this time, then we resume. This is what it means to be a slave. This is what it means to submit to the Creator. And this is what is lost. This is what you cannot find in these other religions. That's the point. That's why Ramadan is so different. And this is the underlying reason a lot of these people are seething and they're coping with the fact that they don't have this. They don't have this in their religions, in their lives. And maybe they can't put their finger on it, but this is the difference. And it wouldn't even matter if the fast was just a minute. If the fast was just like a minute a day, and not even for a month, maybe 1 minute in an entire year, God said in that minute, you do not eat or drink. In that just 1 minute. God sends revelation to a messenger. The messenger teaches this. The followers obey that. And that tradition, that law, that rule is passed down generation to generation. In that 1 minute, you will not eat or drink or engage in physical lusts. Muslims we hear and we obey. We hear and we obey. For that 1 minute of that day, we're not going to eat or drink or do what we're not allowed to do. And then the rest of the time, you can do whatever. You can eat and drink. But it's just for that 1 minute. If you go to these other religions, you know what they would do? They would say, that 1 minute, you can have water. You can drink. How can you not drink water? That's unhealthy to not drink water in 1 minute. And, food, fasting just means don't eat as much in that 1 minute. Like if you're in the middle of eating a ham sandwich, just take a smaller bite of that ham sandwich, and that counts as fasting, right? That counts as fasting. Or instead of eating steak, only eat fish in that 1 minute. If you're eating steak, just pause the steak, eat some fish, stuff your gullet with some fish instead of meat or chicken. That's fasting, guys. That's fasting. Or, maybe just give up chocolate. In that 1 minute, you can eat whatever you want. Just don't eat chocolate in that 1 minute. God said, don't eat. But what God really meant, what God really intended is for you to give up something that you love. So just don't eat chocolate in that 1 minute. Or if it were Jewish, let's not just go after the Christians. Well, if it was a Jew, it's like, okay, that 1 minute, I can put some food in my mouth in that one, like prior to that 1 minute, I'll put food in my mouth, and then in that minute, I'll swallow it. So I'm not really eating because I didn't actually bring my hand into my mouth. I just had the food in my mouth already, so I just swallow in that minute. So technically, I'm not violating the law. Technically, now that would be the halakha. That would be the Jewish law, if that were a command. And if it were Hindus would just say, when the Vedas wrote about fasting, that they really were talking about spiritual excellence and reaching a spiritual plane of oneness with the universe. That's what really was intended. So you still eat and drink in that 1 minute, but just try to think about higher ideals, and that's fasting. That's what the Hindus or even the Buddhists, it's only about nirvana. Or, this is restricted only to the monks. That's not for the general public. Like, this is how they all play games. They all play games with their religion. That's why their religions are not preserved. That's why their religions have all liberalized and secularized, and all their religions have become a joke. But with Muslims, Allah has given us the law, and we practice it. We preserve it. So the same kind of fast that was practiced 1400 years ago with the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his followers in that first generation, that same fast, exactly to the T, all of the details of that fast have been preserved. The Prophet, peace be upon him, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam came and he established rules of fasting. And then those rules, when he passed away, the Muslims have preserved those rules and those practices for 1400 years. And we are still fasting in the same way as they were fasting 1400 years ago. That's the difference. That's what none of these other religions can say. They haven't preserved their practice. And it's because they do not have this concept of being a slave, submitting, and going against the cultural tide, going against the cultural tide. Because that's what happens. Culture, politics pressures people to change and to follow their desires, to follow the culture, to follow what is politically convenient or correct. So they update and they change. And that's happened. You know, it's not like some of these conservative Christians that want to LARP as if like the message of Christ is like 1950s, Leave It to Beaver America. So we just have to go to the 1950s and practice like our fathers or grandfathers practiced Christianity. No. Way prior to the 1950s, your religion has been evolving, rapidly evolving over 2,000 years. That's the truth. And all the record is there of all of these changes that have been made. Or if you look at Judaism, same thing. Or Hinduism, same thing. Buddhism, same thing. So you've lost something. You've lost something very critical and you can't regain it. You can't get that back. You can't unring that bell. Once you start adapting and changing, then it's just a downward spiral. It's a snowball effect. Things get worse and worse and worse. That's the situation that Christians face, Jews face, Buddhists and Hindus and all of these other groups, Zoroastrians about to go extinct. This is the reality. And that's why they're so angry at Muslims. Because they see that we have something that they don't have. We have something that they don't have, and that makes them angry, that makes them seethe, that makes them cope. And this is why they kill Muslims. They just kill Muslims, genocide Muslims, because they're so angry at Muslims. But guess what? When you kill us, we become martyrs and we go to heaven. So it's a win for a Muslim, for a believer. But the good news is that we don't have an exclusive right to Islam. Islam is for everyone. Everyone is invited. Everyone can join. So when I talk like this about Islam and I boast about Islam, it's not because I'm boasting about myself. I'm boasting about the truth that is open for you to accept, for everyone to accept and join and come. If you see this value in Islam and this makes sense to you, then why aren't you joining? Why aren't you joining the winning team? Why don't you accept the truth? You can fast too. You can fast in the way that a messenger of God, the final messenger of God, prescribed and brought. You can actually do a ritual and a tradition that's consistent with 1400 years of practice. You have that in Islam. You don't have that in these other religions. You don't have that same kind of tradition in these other religions. And you can't unring the bell. You can't try to recreate it because you've lost it. It's been lost. You don't even know what you've lost. That's the problem. You don't even know what has been lost. Well, it's a very clear choice. Ramadan means just not eating lunch. No, you have a very superficial understanding of Islam. And it's either because you are too ignorant and you're just coping and you're not wanting to actually realize the truth. The truth is that even if the fast was 1 minute of 1 day of the year that Muslims had to do, it would still be superior to anything that you've made up. Anything that your preachers have made up, any kind of idea that your people have created to LARP. That's why Islam is necessary. That's why Islam has come, because you've lost the message of God. You've lost the practice of religion that you had, that prophets prior, prophets like Abraham, Moses, David, Solomon, Jesus, they came with a message. They came with practice and fasting. They brought you fasting. And some of those fasting requirements were maybe even more difficult than what Islam prescribes. Like fasting from speaking, like you have to be silent. Silent fast. So you had those kinds of traditions and practices, but they've evolved, they've been changed, they've been adapted. And that's why Islam has to come. And Islam establishes the final fast, the final laws of fasting, which is Ramadan. So that's open to you. We invite you. We invite the non-Muslims to accept. So this is my rant about Ramadan. So what do you think? Have you guys seen these Christians? What are they talking about? Like, this is ultimately the problem. I think it goes back to, they don't have a concept of being a slave. They don't have a concept of being a slave to God. They've lost this. They might have the concept, but they've lost the sense, the taste of it, the taste of being a slave to your creator. Yeah, again, they can LARP about it, but actually tasting it, experiencing it, living it, that's something that we have in Islam. And Ramadan is the best example for an extended period of time of Muslims universally abiding by this. Because we have Muslims commit sins. We have sins that we commit where we disobey God, and then we have to repent for that. We ask Allah for forgiveness. But when it comes to Ramadan fasting, the vast majority of Muslims, they listen and obey. They abide by this. So this is something beautiful. This is something that it creates a sense of obedience, submission, slavehood. And everything in Islam is like that. The 5 prayers, praying 5 times a day. God says you have to pray 5 times in these specific times. So you have a certain window for the Fajr prayer. You have a window for the Dhuhr prayer. We have a window for the Asr, Maghrib, and Isha prayers. And you have to make the time, and you have to be clean. You have to be clean. You have to pray at the time. This is submission. This is being a slave. It's very organized, regimented. You don't have that. It doesn't exist. And the main reason that it doesn't exist is because everything is so malleable in these other religions. They can be updated. They've been updated. They've evolved. So there is no concept of slavehood. And you know that in the back of your minds. Like, you know that, and that's why you're leaving your religion in droves. You're leaving Christianity, and all the numbers show this, Judaism. Everyone is becoming, I'm spiritual, but I don't believe in organized religion. I don't believe in organized. Yeah, you don't believe in organized religion because you've been conditioned to think of religion as just God is your buddy. God is your buddy, your best bud. God loves you unconditionally. God is your bestie. God is just going to accept you. You're just a good person. This is what they teach. This is what they teach across these religions. Islam says no. Islam says, are you worthy for God's love? God is loving. God is merciful. But who says that you're worthy of God's love? Why are you just assuming that? Maybe God hates you. Maybe God hates you. Are you truly a slave of God? Are you truly devoted to the King of Kings? The Creator? Oh, you sure about that? You sure you are? Like, this is the kind of, even this mindset, having this mindset of doubt, having this mindset of concern, that is also indicative of being a slave. If you don't have this mindset, then how can you be a slave? The slave doesn't just think, oh, of course, the master loves me. I'm on good terms with the master. How could the master not love me? That's not the correct attitude. That's not the correct hal, condition internally that a slave has. But they've conceived of God as, oh, unconditionally loves you as a buddy. You're God's buddy. He's your buddy, your besties. So that kind of attitude, what is that going to result in? That's kind of, well, God loves me, so who cares? Like, I'll live my life, and I'll just be vaguely a good person. I'll go to church, yeah, if I get the chance, or I'll abide by these, whatever. Clearly, these are all man-made rules and regulations, whatever. I'll do my best. And this is how you get mass apostasy. This is how you get all these former Christians who are spiritual, former Jews who are atheists, It's like 50% of Jews or more are atheists. And I was talking to that rabbi last year, and he admitted that, about 50% of rabbis are atheists. Like, well, how does that happen? Is that being a slave? Is that being a slave, that you don't even believe in your master? You don't even believe in your creator? See, these religions are a joke. I mean, let's be honest. Like, that's the truth. That's the truth. So what do you guys think? Let's look at your comments. War of Nations idle game. Thank you, brother, for your very generous super chat. He says, Salam alaikum from Germany. Thank you for your work, brother. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. That's a very kind, huge super chat. Jazakallah khair. Really appreciate it. It really helps out our channel. May Allah accept in Ramadan and give you manifold reward, inshallah. Ameen. Okay. Battle Zone, thank you for your super chat. Top Jeet says, behind every problem is a woman. I kind of agree. Top Jeet is my term for Andrew Tate. Yeah, I mean, that's a simplification, so. Is it true? Well, we're going to see. I think a lot of problems when we react to this marriage video, or this marriage matchmaker show. So a lot of problems are due to women. Okay, blank checks. I can't get out my front door without prayer and supplication. Every breath I take is a sign of his mercy. Each beat of my heart, a sign of his grace. Is this like a Christian? I can't tell what image that is. Yeah, you can create whatever religion that you want. You can create any kind of rituals, any kind of practice. So what? That doesn't mean that you're actually obeying God. Yeah, you can feel all good about God. Oh, I love God so much. The love of God is deep in my heart. I do so many prayers. Yeah, so what? Did God tell you to do this? Did God say exactly how to pray? Did God give you certain requirements of prayer and certain rituals? Did God give you that? Did God give you a law to obey in your life? Did God give you a system of laws and rules to obey? If you're a Christian, yeah, he did, but you threw it all out. You threw it all out. If you're Jew, yeah, he did, but you changed it. You took your rabbis as gods. You took your rabbis as authorities who could change the law, because the Torah is not in heaven. That's your doctrine. The Torah is not in heaven. The rabbis decide what is the law, not God. That's what the Talmud says, right? So, yeah, just, I love God so much. Oh, I have so many prayers. You're missing the point. You're missing what it means to be a slave. If you're a slave, you don't change the religion of God. You don't update it. Brother Ahmed, thank you for a super chat. He says, recently started checking out your channel and loving the work. May Allah grant you immense reward. Ameen. Thank you, brother. May Allah reward you in this sacred month. Brother Ragnar, good to see you in the chat. Our moderator, one of our moderator team. Good to see you, bro. Ramadan Mubarak. Okay. Okay. So let's get to the main part of the show. This matchmaker, and someone sent me this, and I was just shocked at the level of devolution, degradation of the American Muslim community. Now, is this representative? Yeah, I think it is representative, actually. I do think that what we're going to see is representative. That's why it's so disturbing. That's why it's so shocking. And we want to react to it. So this is a show that's being released. It was released like 2 weeks ago. And we want to react to it with the trailer for it and some of the coverage that it's gotten. So hopefully you can hear this.
People do not know how to date. That's why they come to us.
People don't know how to date. That's why they come to us, the matchmakers. Not a good sign. This is the trailer. Okay, so these two are the matchmakers. One's named Yasmin, and the other one is named... I forgot her name. Whatever. So they are the stars of this show. It's like a reality show. And so they help... Muslims don't know how to date.
Matchmaker, we're here to help you get your wings on.
Let's get some people married. I want you to feel chosen, and I want you to choose. For Muslims, marriage is an act of worship. I'm clocking a baddie.
Are you Muslim and are you single?
Did my mom send you?
Be real with me for a second. You got a type.
Like Demi Moore from Ghost.
Make it happen, boo.
I've dated Muslim girls, I've dated Hindu girls, and I've dated Caucasian girls. I'm the UN when it comes to dating.
He's dated Hindu girls, Caucasian girls, all kinds of girls. He's the UN when it comes to dating. This is hilarious. This is like just a wonderful joke.
He's cute.
We are in a swipe left, swipe right culture.
Hinge, Bumble, Tinder, Farmers Only.
Love it.
I just want to see.
I want to know what you're physically into. How does he look?
Like a nice thick beard. What would you say are like the top things you're looking for? 80s music lover.
You don't like hairy men?
Top things looking for. 80s music lover.
So all Muslims are out. What are you talking about?
If you're not getting married after a year, what are you doing? We don't have premarital sex.
Why are you single? Maybe the kind of guys that I go for. Hot?
Yeah, hot guy.
You go for hot guys?
Yeah.
It's a pitfall.
This process doesn't have to suck.
This is my first blind date ever. I'm holding my breath.
Are you open to relocating?
No.
That is selfish.
First blind date. Already doing a nice blind date. This is how you matchmake. This is how you get married. You go on blind dates. Go to a painting class. Do some painting together.
Things are kind of off the track.
I would love someone who goes out but still has faith and trying to find a healthy balance of what that means.
You expect a man to provide for you fully?
Oh, yeah.
I want someone to give it 3 months to decide whether there's an emotional connection or not.
My perfect timeline? I think bare minimum is a year of dating, preferably 2.
1 year of dating, preferably 2. That's what this guy says, presumably a Muslim. And then the matchmaker herself says 3 months. 3 months, get to know each other, you know, go on dates, see if there's an emotional connection. Gotta make sure there's an emotional connection.
The moment that I learned he was a DJ, I should have left.
She just didn't show up.
What did you say? The moment I found out he's a DJ, I left. I should have left.
Emotional connection or not.
My perfect timeline? I think bare minimum is a year of dating, preferably 2.
The moment that I learned he was a DJ, I should have left.
She just didn't show up.
I truly believe that this was an answer to a prayer.
All it takes is for it to happen once.
That's it.
Don't be too extreme about it.
What the hell
Don't be too extreme about it. Just relax. Enjoy.
is going on? Why are you single?
And would like someone taller than me?
We're gonna find this guy.
Who's tall?
Ish.
Okay, so that's the trailer. So I can already see your reaction. Dating equals 100 lashes. So this is... What the heck? Trying to destroy Islam like they destroyed Christianity. Why haven't I heard anything about a wali? That's a great observation. Like, you didn't see any kind of older people involved, right? It's just all young people dating, joking, having a good time. Cue the you're finished. My intellect is disgusted. Wrong on all levels. You guys are extremists. This chat is all extremism. There's no dating in Islam, says Real Talk. Wow, you guys are extremists. What the hell is this? A'udhu billah. Are they Muslim? Oh wow, this is getting serious. I'm dying from cringe. They want a provider man, but they aren't virgins. Yeah, it seems like no one's a virgin on this show. This dating show has Jewish script writers. Oh, I didn't know that. That's interesting. Let's see. Haram. This is a parody. Blur it more, brother Daniel. If it was blurred anymore, you wouldn't see anything. It would just be like a color collage, a mosaic. Dude, this is killing me. Is that Disney or what? Wow, what is this? What a disgrace. No one's going to talk about the instrumental music here. Yeah, that's a problem, but there's like a much bigger problem, I think. This is disturbing. This is too gay for Ramadan. Hey, brother Hassan. How's it going? Let's see. What is this? Cringe. Okay, you guys, mashallah, are holding it down in the comments. So yeah, that's just the trailer. So if that's the trailer, imagine what the actual show. I think it's like 10 episodes. It's like 10 episodes. Each episode is over 30 minutes. And you could just imagine how bad it can be. So this is getting some mainstream attention. So some of you are saying that this is like a CIA show. This is a CIA psyop. Let's see. So this is the coverage that got in some ABC News. Like, it's a major the American Broadcasting Corporation. They even did a profile on this, and they interviewed one of the matchmakers.
As a matchmaker, we're here to help you get your wings on.
Let's get some people married.
Forget swiping left or right.
Hinge, Bumble, Tinder, farmers only.
Love it.
I just want to see.
People don't really know how to have a conversation face to face. It's so much less in person and so much more on our devices. And you know, you can't build a marriage that way.
For the host of the new Hulu show, Muslim Matchmaker, finding the perfect partner is all about sticking to the rule of 3.
So we kind of created these parameters, which we call the rules of 3, which is 3 dates within 3 months and then 300 questions along the way.
3 dates within 3 months and 300 questions. So that's the rule of 3.
It's not as intense as it sounds.
I've dated Muslim girls, I've dated Hindu girls, and I've dated Caucasian girls. I'm the UN when it comes to dating.
Matchmaker Huda Ibrahim says the 8-episode series may surprise you.
Oh, Huda Ibrahim. So this is Huda, and the other one's Yasmin.
I think people will be shocked to see that Muslims probably aren't what they always thought we were. I think people...
Hee hee, breaking stereotypes. Oh, we're not what you think we are. Hee 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 hee. That's the only personality that these Muslim women have when they get on mainstream media. We're not what you think we are. Hee hee, we're so wild. Hee 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 hee. Can these Muslim women who want to get on in front of non-Muslims and twerk for them, like, can you try to find a different personality type, like, just for the sake of originality? Like, it's so tired, it's so old. Okay, yeah, we know. You've broken all the stereotypes. You've broken every stereotype there is about Muslim women. Amazing. Amazing. We don't care. We don't care. Get a new shtick.
Assume we're kind of just these like quiet, you know, really soft-spoken type of women, and I think that you'll be so surprised to see that that is not the case.
Yeah, we're not quiet and soft-spoken. We're loud and we're aggressive. Actually, I'm gonna really blow your mind, because guess what? I'm a serial killer. I'm a drug dealer. I'm a Muslim woman, and I deal drugs, and I kill people. I break all the stereotypes. I really, yeah, just go all the way. Like, why are you just... It's not enough that you're not soft-spoken. Like, okay, we know. We've seen non-soft-spoken hijabi Muslim women 20 years ago. You got to do something more to break the stereotype, sister. You got to do a lot more. Like, start killing people. Like, start doing and dealing hardcore drugs. I'm talking about, like, meth and heroin. Like, that's what you got to really do to break the stereotypes. Like, have you tried... have you tried, like, I don't know, do something really extreme? That's what we're expecting at this point. Like, all of those stereotypes of being soft-spoken, those were broken, like, 20 years ago.
Why are you single? Maybe the kind of guys that I go for.
Hot?
Yeah, hot guys.
You go for hot guys?
Yeah.
It's a pitfall.
We have some hilarious, you know, women on the show, and they're smart and ambitious and, you know, career-oriented, and I think it's going to shatter a lot of misconceptions.
Wow, they're smart and they're ambitious. Oh, I wonder why they can't get married. I wonder why they need a matchmaker. They're smart and ambitious. They're outspoken, they're loud, they're aggressive, they're smart. They're going to tell you how smart they are. And if you don't appreciate it, that means you're insecure. And they're so ambitious. They're career-oriented, career-driven. Wow, what a mystery. Why aren't these women married? I can't figure it out. Why do they need a matchmaker? These women are a catch. Any man would love to get married to one of these gorillas. Right? That's what you're loud and you're aggressive, like, and a lot of them seem to be obese. Like, you're basically gorillas. Who doesn't want to marry this lovely gorilla? This gorilla in hijab. She's smart and ambitious. Exactly what you want. Exactly what you want in a wife. Oh, that's on the top of my list as a Muslim man. Top of my list is I want to marry someone ambitious. Someone who's going to be loud and put me in my place. That's what I'm looking for in a Muslim wife. Thank goodness for this matchmaker, Huda and Yasmin, who are putting me in touch with these masculine, aggressive women trying to match me. That's wonderful. I'm going to go on 3 dates, and I'm going to ask them 300 questions about their hopes and dreams, how they're going to go and take over the corporate world because they're so ambitious.
You'll see couples navigate through cultural challenges.
Essentially, most of the people on the show are first-generation Muslim Americans. So the casual kind of dating style you find in the West doesn't really work for us because we are looking for marriage and long-term commitments kind of right out the gate. But
yeah, how is it different? So I was saying, first of all, no, this is first generation. That means their parents are immigrants. Okay, their parents are immigrants coming from Pakistan, from Egypt, from Malaysia, wherever. And then those immigrants had children, and these children are now in their 20s and or maybe even later 20s, and they're trying to get married. They don't know how. So this is just one generation of moving to America, and this is the result. So do you think, just based on this, like if we assume that this is representative, do you think Islam is going to really last in America? Like, do you think Islam is going to last in the West in general? Just based off of this? Like, just for the sake of argument, let's assume that this is representative. Okay, maybe you can debate whether this is representative or this is just like a CIA psyop. But just assume that it is representative. Do you think that Islam is going to last in America? If after one generation, that's it? Like, this is what you get? What's going to happen with their children? Like, what are their children going to be like? Let's assume that they have these immigrant parents who are religious. They are going to the masjid. They are praying. They're fasting. They care about halal and haram. Let's just assume that that's their parents. This is what their children are like. Already going on dates and talking about, like, you know, look at how they're dressed. No concept of hijab. No concept of modesty. Like, what do you expect for generation number 2? Okay, let's say, okay, fine. Let's say the second generation is like them, is the same. What about the third generation? Like, how long is this going to last? Like, how long is Islam going to last? And then some of you in the comments, oh, hijrah, well, make hijrah. We're going to be saved if we just go to a Muslim country. Yeah, if you go to a Muslim country, it's the same thing, except maybe like a few years behind. Like, it's the same processes, the same forces that are causing this in America. It's also happening in your Muslim countries. Prove me wrong. And many of you know it. The only people who think about hijrah, who have this kind of glorious idea of hijrah, are people who live in the West, and they have like glorified this idea of, oh, the Muslim world is so much better. Yeah, it is better. It is quantitatively better, but the same exact forces that are operating in the West are operating in those countries aggressively. And Muslims are adopting the same problems, the same structural problems, the same liberal values are being adopted en masse in these Muslim countries. The same kind of women's empowerment, the same kind of destruction of gender roles, the same kind of destruction of the extended family. It's all happening in the Muslim world as well. So hijrah, okay. I'm basically delaying the inevitable by what, one generation? Max. So this is delusional. Like, if you don't understand the actual problems and you just say, oh, just make hijrah. Just make hijrah. That, you're not, okay, make hijrah. If that's what you need personally, make hijrah. I'm not trying to discourage people who want to make hijrah, but that's not some kind of that's just a band-aid. That's not an actual solution to the problems that we're going to discuss and analyze.
Some of the ways that our parents did this doesn't necessarily work for us living here either, and so we try and find this middle ground.
My perfect timeline?
The way that our parents did it, it's not going to work for us. It's not going to work. So this is every aspect of Islam can be changed and updated like this. It's not working for us. Our generation, our parents did it some way. Now we're in a different time. This is the seed of reform. And you can reform every single aspect of Islam like this. Our parents prayed 5 times a day. That doesn't work for us. Our parents went and had Friday prayers, but it's in the middle of the workday. Times have changed. There's different requirements. If you want to be ambitious, career-oriented, you can't just take Friday off or take lunch for an hour off to go Friday prayers. We need to change the Friday prayers to Saturday, actually. That's what works for our generation, not our parents. You can change even the rituals. Like, why is it limited to just something like, don't mix, don't do this gender mixing, don't go and mix with the opposite sex when you're not married to them, don't go on dating, don't engage in zina. All of these aspects of Islam you can change, no problem. Because it doesn't work for us. You know, it just doesn't work. It doesn't work for us. So, yeah, we're just going to do it different. You know, that's That's the way we do things. So do that with all of Islam. Why even bother with a hijab? Like, why do you have this costume? Like, my religion is not a costume for you. Like, how about we use that line? My religion is not Islam. Modesty is not a costume where you put on a colorful scarf and half of your hair is also showing and you're plastered with makeup. This is actually like cultural appropriation. You're appropriating Islam. Just change that. Why is hijab needed? Actually, like half of the people on your show aren't even wearing hijab. They're dressed quite inappropriately. Like they're showing quite a lot actually of their chest in these clips. You didn't see it because it's blurred, but it's like, forget about modesty, forget about hijab, just change everything. It just doesn't work. It doesn't work for our generation. So that once you accept that, you accept that principle that if something doesn't work, then it can be changed. Once you accept that, then the whole religion goes out the window. And that's exactly what Christians have done, Jews have done, Hindus have done, Buddhists have done. And now they want the same thing for Muslims and Islam. And this is maslaha, by the way. This is maslaha, maqasid al-sharia, all of these types of rules that these reformists bring in to change the laws of Islam. It's the exact logic. This just doesn't work for us now. And I have videos on this, like Haqiqatjou. We looked in depth about maslaha reasoning, with maslaha mursala with Yasir Qadi and Hatim al-Hajj. These two scholars who came and did a whole hour and a half long podcast discussion about needing to change the rules of family law in Islam. Why? Because it just doesn't work for this generation. Like, that's literally the kind of reasoning that they use. And they justify it using this kind of, the maslaha of the situation, and we need to make divorce easier for women because it just doesn't work. It doesn't work. We need maslaha. Otherwise, women won't get married. If we don't make divorce easier, women won't get married. That's the reasoning we analyzed for, I think it was a 6-hour show. So go watch that. I forgot the episode number, but you'll see it. It's Yasir Qadi if you go to the channel. And this lady, this matchmaker Huda, is saying the same thing as Yasir Qadi, except she doesn't have like the Islamic education to put it in Arabic or to use this kind of jargon like maslaha or maqasid. But I'm sure if she went and took a Yasir Qadi class, she would be able to give a wonderful fiqh presentation of why what they're doing is perfectly justified Islamically. She could basically or translate what she's saying into traditional quote-unquote fiqh. Yasir Qadi can teach her how to do that. Or Hatim al-Hajj, or any of these reformists. SUHAIB WEBB. Someone is saying that SUHAIB WEBB. I didn't know that, but apparently SUHAIB WEBB is in this show as well. Let me go check and see if that's the case. That'd be funny. I mean, that SUHAIB WEBB, this is right up his alley. Any links that you guys get in the chat for SUHAIB WEBB? Anyway, nothing came up on my search, so I'm not confirming that SUHAIB WEBB is a part of this, but he's been a part of similar things in the past. Okay, so yeah, so this is the kind of reformist logic. All kinds of aspects of Islam can be reformed in this way. That's why this is being pushed. This kind of programming is being pushed on Muslims.
I think bare minimum is a year of dating, preferably 2.
But whether you're Muslim or not, Ibrahim says there are takeaways for everyone.
For everybody, I hope that it inspires hope. Just have a renewed hope for all the single people out there that your person is out there and there are ways to find them. And, for the Muslim community, I really hope that we feel seen. And I think that our community is going to appreciate just feeling seen and having our stories told for once, like by us.
Yeah, we have our stories need to be told. That's the priority, our stories, our narratives. This is also coming from these progressives and reformists. Like, we need our narrative. Like, when you look at something like Yaqeen Institute or Yasser Qadi or Dalia Mugahed or SUHAIB WEBB, that's the line that they always repeat. Like, our narrative, our story, we need to be visible. We need to get our stories out there. Yeah, these are the stories that they're talking about. Okie dokie. Someone's saying SUHAIB WEBB was in the intro? I didn't see any SUHAIB WEBB. Am I like going crazy here? What are you talking about, chat? I don't think anyone else saw SUHAIB WEBB. Okay, whatever. Not that important. Okay, so that is the second. And then there's this program called The View. It's like a morning program, very popular in America, where a bunch of old women, over-the-hill women, liberals, start complaining and talking nonsense about American culture and politics. And apparently it's very popular, but it also featured this show.
Talks about reality show Muslim Matchmaker is helping Muslim American singles navigate the chaotic dating scene in the hopes of connecting them with lifelong partners. Take a look.
Okay, Doreen. I want to know your physical type. What are you into?
So, I would like someone taller than me.
Okay.
I'm 5'10".
All right.
So what Noreen likes: going to concerts, open to faith growing, tall, it has to be tall, at least 5'10", dislikes misery Muslims. Don't know what that means.
So am I. I married 2 men, 5'8". How do you feel about that? Oh.
I could do it.
Good.
I mean,
that's the right answer.
But like,
keep going.
I do like someone who has hair on their head.
Okay. Hair on his arms?
No, I don't like hairy men.
You don't like hairy men?
No.
So all.
She doesn't like hairy men, but she seems pretty hairy herself. It's like I said, hairy gorilla. But she can't have a hairy man, but I guess this is a double standard.
Muslims are out. What are you talking about? Are you okay?
Maybe we need a convert.
You gotta flirt to convert.
You gotta flirt to convert, yeah. Muslim women need to flirt with non-Muslims to convert them because they're less hairy than the Muslim men. Yeah, that's a great message. It's very funny. So this is, yeah, just imagine, like, anyway, like this person is being picky. Like, is she such a catch? Like, is this person such a catch that she's so picky about her likes? Like, she's getting into, like, go back to her list. Like, these are the priorities. Going to concerts is number 1 on the list. And being tall and having not going bald, basically. These are like the really priority concerns for finding. Like, this is the level of pickiness that these women have. So it means that they're completely delusional. Like, you're not some kind of supermodel. You're not like some kind of amazing Muslima. You don't even wear hijab. And you have this kind of picky attitude. Oh, I wonder why. I wonder why these women have so much trouble getting married. I wonder why there is a marriage crisis. I wonder why 50% of people under the age of 30 will never get married in their lives. I wonder why. It's because these crazy standards that women like Noreen have, that they think that they're this amazing catch. So they're very picky. All of these men that are perfectly suited for them in terms of pure looks, like their looks matched, basically. Their looks are equivalent, male and female. But they're getting rejected. They're rejecting all of these guys. He has hair on his arm. That was the problem that she had. Oh, I don't like hair on the arm. So if you're a Muslim brother and you're trying to get married, and you're trying to find the one for you, and then everything seems to be going well, and then you get rejected and you're wondering why, like, why was I rejected? It might be because you have hairy arms. Did you think of that? Did you consider that? Like, some of these guys are going, I don't get it. I'm asking to marry all these women. One by one, I'm getting rejected. I have a good job. I'm 5'10", let's say. I have money. I'm religious. I'm not Brad Pitt, but I'm not ugly. I'm not like Hunchback of Notre Dame either. So why am I getting rejected again and again and again and again? Did you think that maybe it's because of the hair on your arms? Or maybe it's something like your eyebrows. Like maybe your eyebrows are not thick enough, or maybe they're too thick. Or did you think that maybe your teeth are a little bit crooked, or maybe your teeth aren't perfectly white, they're a little bit yellow? Maybe that's why you're getting rejected. This is why in Islam we say you have a wali. You have your guardian, like your father or your grandfather or your uncle, your paternal uncle, who is going to guide you. Yeah, ultimately it's your choice, but he's going to guide you. He's going to protect you. So that your little frivolous idea of what marriage is not going to prevent you from happiness, prevent you from being able to get married to a good man. That's what you need. You need a wali. And one of the big problems is that they've jettisoned, they've like discarded, dispensed with this concept of the wali because, oh, it's patriarchal, it's patriarchy, and oh, it's so paternalistic that I as a woman need a man to help me get married or to tell me how to get married. My father doesn't understand. We're in a different generation. So they've dispensed, they've gotten rid of this. Why? Because they want more freedom. We want freedom and we want equality as women. So this idea of the wali that Islam requires, that you can't get married, women cannot get married without their father's permission or their guardian's permission. We're going to get rid of that. That doesn't work for our time. And then you go to the matchmaker, you go to Huda, you go to Yasmin, and you say, yeah, I don't like guys with hairy arms. Yeah, going to concerts, that's my number one. That's my number one priority. It's shocking, right? She wants BTS, maybe. Yeah, maybe she's looking for a Korean. Nice Korean. Flirt to convert the Koreans. So Dr. Sebastian says, rude women with bad breath and blue hair. Muslim Boogeyman says, bro, I have hairy toes. I'm cooked. Yeah, just keep your socks on in these, when you go to propose to someone, just keep your socks on, keep your shoes on maybe. Yeah. I got rejected for having nose hair. Yeah, so we all have nose hair, brother. Hairy arm is a sign of masculinity. Yeah, I mean that's part of it. Like this is the cognitive dissonance of many of these women. They want biologically inside, they want a masculine man. That's what all their instincts are telling them. They want a masculine man who will dominate them. That's what they want. They want a man's man. But because of feminist indoctrination, they also reject that. Like they consciously reject that. No, I want a metrosexual, very soft, gentle, effeminate. He has to be in touch with his feminine side. That's what they consciously are thinking. So the biology is clashing with the conscious mind, the indoctrination, the brainwashing. And men have the same problem. Muslim men have the same. I don't know how many Muslim men I've talked to. I said, what do you want in a wife? And the first thing he says, oh, I want her to be educated. Really? That's what you're looking for in a spouse? It doesn't make sense. Like, again, there's a clash between what he's been indoctrinated by these simp imams. Oh, if you don't want a educated, ambitious, career-oriented wife, that means you're a misogynist. That's disgusting. So they have internalized this, and when you ask them, they just play the script. They've been brainwashed. They play the script. Yeah, I want a educated, ambitious career woman. That's what I want as my wife. Really? Let's check your T levels, brother. I'm not sure that you have enough testosterone in your blood. So, Daniel using black pill terms. Yeah, unfortunately, like, how can you not be black pilled? Look at this. How can you not be black pilled? The only reason that you're not black pilled as Muslims is because, like, you have iman, like we believe in like a supernatural force of Allah that will make things work if we have iman and we make dua, like that. We only rely. This is like true tawakkul, like true reliance on Allah, because the situation is so bad. The world is like getting so corrupt that if you don't have iman, you're going to be black-pilled. You're going to be really, really like this black-pilled incel. There's no chance that you're going to match with these women. Brother says, isn't the father also at fault for this problem? Freeman's World, thank you for your super chat. Of course. Of course the fathers are at fault. Of course. Absolutely. Like, this is a huge problem from the fathers raising their daughters like this. And we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about those problems. Oh, man. I just want a wife. I just want a wife. A lot of heart coming out in the chat. A lot of desperation. But I feel for you. I feel for it. I've been rejected just once. Just once. Like, I wish to be sympathetic, brother, but one rejection is nothing. Try 10, 20 rejections. Try 10 years of rejections. One rejection is nothing. You're a rookie. You're just getting your feet wet. If you don't have a perfect hairline, she's rejecting you. Yeah, I mean, even forget about hairline. You can't have hair on your arms. If you have hair on your arms, this hairy gorilla is going to reject you. This land whale, this obese land whale thinks she's much better than you. She's too good for you. Forget about perfect hairline. She would rather a 5'4" hairless Asian than a hairy 6-foot Muslim Chad. Consciously, maybe, yeah. But biologically, no. Never take your socks off ever. Good advice from Adam. Let's see. Satanic Liberalism, wrote by Iblis. Thank you. Mubin. Humans are good at being blinded regarding real problems, but making no problems into problems. Yes. Tom Hanks. Concerts like those in Saudi. Got to get some jabs in at the Medkhalis. Got to get some jabs in at Saudi. Yeah. I'm not hairy, but I definitely wouldn't want her. Yeah. We're cooked. People are getting black-pilled. People are getting black-pilled. Okay. That was a racist comment. What was racist? So there's no racism appreciated here. Okay, there's no racism appreciated. Got rejected. Hey, brother Labib, another beloved moderator. Got rejected like crazy for my beard. Ain't shaving in an inch. Alhamdulillah. Yeah, like these are the... It's like too much hair. What's the father supposed to do? Yeah, raise your daughter right. Raise your daughter right with the proper standards. Don't let her mix with men. Don't let her get on social media to attract attention from men. Like, let's talk about that later. But there's all kinds of things that you as a father can do to prevent this kind of outcome. How about stop pushing your daughters to get educated or to pursue advanced education, to go into careers? How about indoctrinating them with proper Islamic gender roles at an early age? How about that? Where you give them the expectation that you're going to be a pious, devoted wife. You're going to be an agreeable, passive partner and supporter of your husband. You're going to take your husband as your leader. You're going to be obedient to your husband. Teach them that. And then also exemplify that in your own marriage with your own wife, her mother. Exemplify that. If you don't, then you're going to get this land whale here. You're going to get this gorilla. Okay, let's continue.
So just in time for Valentine's Day, please welcome host and matchmaker Yasmin El Hadi.
Yeah, this is the kind of Muslim women that they want. They want a flamboyant woman, boss, babe, go and be on stage in front of everyone and be as flamboyant and exuberant and loud as possible, assertive as possible. That's the kind of Muslim women we want, right? That's the kind of Muslim women our community needs, right? Right? This is the model, right? And this is all the sheikhas, by the way, all the sheikhas, because at least, alhamdulillah, at least this Yasmin, she doesn't claim to be a religious scholar. She doesn't claim to be a sheikha. But her behavior is perfectly in line with these other sheikhas that do claim, oh, I'm a sheikha, I'm a ustaza. And they go on these conferences and they pretty much are like this. Like they may be one level below this level of flamboyance. You have the sheikha on stage joking and, pointing, oh yeah, to applause from the mixed audience. The sheikhas, she's basically a sheikha. She's basically a sheikha at that level. Yeah, I mean, this is what is being, don't think that this is just partitioned off to just liberal Muslims who are irreligious. They don't care about religion. No, the same thing, the same template, the same model is being directed towards the religious Muslim crowd through these conferences, ISNA, ICNA, RIS, Revolving the Islamic Spirit. Oh yeah, I'm sure you're reviving a lot. All of these conferences, now they're being launched, the same kind of conferences, the same model in these Muslim countries. Malaysia, Indonesia, Pakistan, Bangladesh. They're exporting this en masse, the same ideas. And these videos from the sheikhas, oh, she's a sheikha, she memorized some Quran, she's citing some hadith, oh, mashallah, the sheikha, and this is basically what she is. Like we're sitting right in front of us here with Yasmin. What kind of impact do you think that's going to have on 1, 2, 3 generations of Muslim women?
Barbie. Hi, Barbie. Hi. Hey, you. Wow. We're thinking the same thing, huh?
I guess we got the memo.
Got love on the mind? Love of self first?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, good. I'm trying to think about it.
My husband wants me to have love on the mind. So, Yasmin, everybody's buzzing about your show, Muslim Matchmaker. Give us some dish about the show. Tell us something. Why is this resonating with so many people?
Yeah. Well, it's a show from real authentic place of love and joy and celebration.
Yes.
We all are searching for that one person to be our soulmate, to be our partner in life. And I think everyone can really just find the commonality with that. Yeah. And it's
love. This is about love and joy and celebration. These are like NPCs, like these are bots, like the same kind of script. Like, oh, it's about love and joy and celebration. Love of self. I feel like I'm in a Yasmin Mugahed lecture. I feel like I'm in a Yasmin Mugahed, Dalia Mugahed. I'm one of these sheikhas, Maryam, whatever. It's all about love and joy and celebration and self-love and authenticity and your stories. You got to have your stories, your narrative. Be yourself, be visible, be proud, be ambitious. Like, again, like, don't open your eyes, please. Open your eyes, because I see from the chat that a lot of you are red-pilled. Mashallah, that's great. Be red-pilled. But what's the benefit of being red-pilled if you don't actually apply that knowledge in the less obvious cases? Yeah, many of you can say, "Oh, this is haram. This is clearly haram. She's doing this. Look at how she's dressed with makeup and there's music. This is haram." Mashallah, brother, you got the obvious thing. You got the obvious thing that everyone can see. But how about the less obvious thing? Because you're saying that this is haram, but then you're putting your daughter to take classes, you know, with a compassionate imam, a simp imam. You're sending your daughter to go listen to one of these sheikhas, and it's the same thing. It's the same message. That sheikha, that simp imam, that compassionate imam that's so popular is giving your children and your wife and your family the same message. And you're encouraging, in Ramadan no less, to watch this material. So don't think that you're so smart and you know, oh, I know this is haram. Yeah, mashallah, it's obvious. That part is obvious. But are you applying that knowledge?
It's really beautiful to see people's journey because they're also learning a lot about themselves in the process.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, their journey. The hijab journey, the zina journey, the dating journey, we can't be too harsh about these things on these issues, right? Because everyone's on a journey. Like, where have you heard that? Like, how many simp imams have that as literally their motto in life? So she, like, I bet you that you go to her feed, she's following all these compassionate imams. I bet you. This is where they're getting their stuff. They're getting their stuff, and they consider this to be Islam. They consider this to be Islamic. They're taking the slop from the compassionate imams. They're swallowing it, ingesting it, imbibing it, and this is the result. This is what is being defecated out. That's the food chain, or that's the digestive tract of liberalism. It gets taken in by the compassionate imams who Islamify it, the Islam liberalism and feminism, and those compassionate imams defecate that onto social media, and then people like Yasmin or Huda, they consume that, they consume the feces, they ingest it, and then they defecate out this slop. So it's like liberalism that's gone through like 2 digestion processes.
You're very funny.
Thanks.
Very funny.
Joy? What? Joy said that to me. Oh, I'm sorry, you just threw me off.
That is the ultimate.
Do you want to be my Valentine?
So when most people think of matchmaker, they think of an older aunt or a grandma, somebody, you know, that's
someone not cute.
Somebody that's not you.
Yeah.
And then there's
Yeah, someone's not cute. You need someone cute to be your matchmaker for a successful marriage, not someone old with experience, an auntie, or father or grandfather. Not someone old. What do old people know? What do old people? Old people don't know nothing. We need someone cute and young who's on TV.
that stereotype, and then there's you.
Yeah.
Right? Fun, young, crazy.
El Hadi.
So tell us, how long have you been doing this, and how many love connections have you made?
So I've been...
Other than Joy.
Oh, yeah. I mean, me and Joy have our own love connection. I've been doing this for 18 years.
Wow.
Yeah. My first match was my brother. Oh. I know. I met a girl in Santa Monica, and I was like, oh, God.
Wow.
This is my brother's partner.
This is my sister-in-law.
This is my sister-in-law.
Yeah.
I ended up spending a night at her house that night. And then I called him quietly from her bed like, I met your wife. And he was like...
Not creepy at all.
Yeah, he was like, don't you think I should meet her first? I was like, minor detail. I'm in her bed. He was like, stop, get off the phone. So I started kind of realizing that I had a knack for it. I was looking for why I was doing it. I realized I was looking for complementariness. I was looking for people to basically be complements of each other's temperaments.
Yeah.
And so I realized, the reason that works is because she's actually my brother's little puzzle piece.
Yeah.
You know, and they're good at different things and they're bad at different things. And that's kind of that's my philosophy.
And you got all that in one day?
I got all that in a couple hours.
Wow.
Yeah, I have a little bit of a thing. Got a little bit of a thing. So I've had over 55 marriages.
Wow, that's amazing. Wow.
Wait, 55? So she's been doing this for 18 years. Let's say that she's only been doing it seriously for 10 years, professionally for 10 years. Only 55 matches. That's 5 or 6 per year. Is that a good rate of matchmaking when it's your actual job and you have a TV show? Maybe, I don't know, 5 per year and it's your job. That's kind of dire. The situation is so bad that she is that she can only find 5 to 6 matches per year. It's kind of shocking. Okay.
Thank you.
Yasmin, you say that people don't know how to date. So you ask couples to follow something called the rule of 3.
Yep.
What are they commonly doing wrong, and what does your rule of 3 entail?
So the rules of 3 are an attempt to give people an opportunity to actually consider the person in front of them wholeheartedly. Without thinking that there is a sea of opportunity out there when really, you just got to catch one delicious fish.
Yeah. Yes.
It's got to be well seasoned. You know what I'm saying? Well prepared.
Not
It's
too
gotta,
squirmy.
Not too squirmy. Mercury levels have to be good. Right? It's got to be, you're right, not too mercurial.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's got to be wild caught.
Right.
As I was saying, we have to restrict people from thinking that there's a sea of opportunity. That's kind of smart. I'll be fair. If she says something that's correct, I'll say that that's correct. This idea that there's a sea of opportunity for women, they can have any kind of guy, and that's causing women to be picky. That's what's causing women, when there is a good candidate, they reject because they think, well, there's going to be someone better. Maybe if I just hold out a little bit longer and don't get married, the better person, the better Prince Charming or the better Prince Abdullah is going to come knocking on my door. So they keep rejecting. That's because of these kinds of high expectations. So, okay, you want to limit that. You're saying that you don't want them to have this idea of a sea of opportunity. You want to limit that. But then when we go to your list making, it didn't seem like you were limiting things very drastically. If number 1 on the list was going to concerts, that's on the list. of things that are part of this woman's expectations. The thing is that if you want to limit women, you have to restrict them. You have to restrict what they can see. And you have to restrict their ability to interact with the opposite sex. That's the only way that you can actually restrict them from thinking they have a sea of opportunity. Because that's, fishing is actually a good analogy. Like fishing, you have a whole sea of fish, and women are the bait. They make themselves the bait. They beautify themselves. They want to be as attractive as possible and attract as much attention from men as possible. Because the more eyes are on you, the more attention that you have on you, then you can be selective. You can pick the best option. You can pick the tallest guy, the most handsome guy, the highest status guy possible. That's why you have to attract as much attention as possible. And when there's no restriction on what women can do in terms of flirting, in terms of how they dress, like how much nudity that they can show, then they're going to compete with each other, and it's going to be a race to the bottom. And I've explained this many times on Haqiqatjou and elsewhere and debates, is that if you have no restrictions on women and how they dress and who they can interact with, they're going to compete with each other in a race to the bottom for how low they can go. Like how naked can they get, how much beauty that they can show, how much nudes they can post on social media, on OnlyFans or whatever. How flamboyant they can be, like dress or wear a hot pink blazer and a skirt and go on national TV and start shaking it and making jokes like, look at me, look at me, look at me, so that you can attract attention. This is human nature. This is female nature, and it's dangerous. It's destructive. It destroys the character of society. It destroys the possibility and the potential of lasting marriages, stable, lasting marriages. And one of the ways that it prevents that is by making women so picky, because they think that there's an endless sea of opportunity. There's an endless potential for Prince Abdullah, Prince Charming, to come and be attracted by, oh, that selfie, that made-up selfie that you posted on Instagram is so hot, is so attractive, and he slides into your DMs, and he's basically like Brad Pitt. That's what they're all hoping for when they're posting constantly their images. Oh, look at my outfit. Look at my new hijab. Look at my new eyeliner. Look at my new lipstick. That's what they're doing. That's the bait. That's the bait. But nothing that this matchmaker is saying, nothing that is even within her conceptual universe tells her that, okay, restrict women. Tell women no more social media. You can't post yourself on social media. You are not going to go into these mixed spaces. When you go out, you're going to not only be covered head to toe, not only are you going to be covered head to toe, you're not going to go in places where you're mixing with the opposite sex, where you're interacting with them, casually talking and joking with them. You're not going to go to these mixed gatherings, especially in Ramadan, like all these iftars. How many of these iftars are actually segregated, where the men and the women are separate? They're in separate areas, as opposed to just sitting together in a big circle and having a good old time. How many? In America, it's almost none. In America, you have to have like good brothers who hold it down, and they don't have those kind of mixed gatherings for iftar, for dinner, or whatever. But those restrictions don't exist. Those restrictions are not being placed on women. Those restrictions are not being... Patriarchy is not being enforced by the men. It's the men who are at fault. Because they've become simps. They've become simps. That's the problem. So then you're not going to solve this issue. You're not going to solve the marriage crisis. You're not going to make women more realistic. It's the problem will proceed unabated.
Are we even eating fish if it's not? It's like this idea of this false choice that is just an illusion of endless choice. We really want the rules of three to say, hey, be serious about this. Be intentional about how you are approaching dating. I know, Sarah, you kind of that's right, like that's like
super
your mantra,
intentional,
right?
Yeah.
About being intentional dating. And I really hope that people take away from this show that the rules of three are just about really going deep, giving someone an opportunity, not dating a million people at the same time, not swiping left and swiping right on a human being. Like,
spending
I can't
some
like
time
swipe
together.
when someone's in front of me. I can't like swipe them.
Yeah.
I can't like push them like without a restraining order. You know what I mean? Like,
Like, why would anyone do that? Like, why would someone agree if they have an app and they can just swipe? And that's the thing about these women. On the Tinder apps, it's easy for women to match. For men, it's impossible to match on these dating apps or the Muslim versions of them, which are just Muslim dating apps. It's well known that women can match very easily. It's the men that can't match because they're too hairy, for example, or they're not tall enough or whatever. So the women are constantly swiping left, like reject, 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 reject. And that gives them the sense that they have an endless sea of opportunity. So she's saying, oh, okay, put the apps away. But why would they do that? Why would they restrict their choice? Like, okay, fine, I'm talking to this guy. I'm dating him, the 3 dates over 3 months, as she said. But I'm going to keep my options open. Why not? Why wouldn't I do it? It would be irrational for me not to keep my options open.
Someone's going to be called, like the police are going to be called. So like stop swiping on people and really give them a chance. We want you to go on 3 dates, get to know somebody, and then decide, okay, I should be exclusive, go on a 3-month journey with them to explore an emotional connection or not. And then we have 300 questions.
300 questions.
Well, go on an emotional journey. 3 dates. 3 dates. And what do you think is going to happen? What do you think is going to happen with 3 dates? Or 1 date. 1 nice romantic date. See if anything happens. Any emotional connection. What? Like, do the people not understand biology? Do people not understand what happens when you, especially a woman? Okay, again, this is the importance of having a wali. Let's say it is a really good-looking guy who comes and she hits the jackpot. It's someone who is like Brad Pitt or Tom Cruise or whoever. And, oh yeah, she's going to develop an emotional connection, all right. She's going to develop an emotional connection real quick. But guess what? He's a bum. Like, he has no religious commitment. Maybe he's like a drug addict. Maybe he has like other problems. He's like from a really bad family. And she's already developed the emotional connection. So at that point, it's too late for the wali. It's too late for the father to intervene. She's made up her choice. If he was ever going to be in the picture in the first place. That's it. And then you get married. Maybe after a few sessions, like a few zina sessions. Like, this is a disaster. It's a disaster for her from beginning to end. And this is what happens when you abandon the Islamic system. Yeah, he'll just take advantage of her. Like, it's very easy to take advantage of her. Or, like, more likely to be the case after 1 date, she's like, yeah, I didn't like the fact that when he drinks his coffee, he kind of slurps a little. There's a little bit of sound when he drinks his coffee, and I don't like that. So, yeah, I don't have an emotional connection with him. I don't think it's going to work out. Like, that's the more likely scenario. More likely scenario, and so you're never gonna get married. That's why she's only made like average 5 to 6 matches in a year from being a professional matchmaker. That's so successful that she has her own show. Dating is haram, brother. True. That's the chat is keeping up. It is haram.
It's a lot of questions, but they're divided into 12 categories for 12 weeks.
Okay, 1, I want to be your best friend. 2, we are in the age of dating apps, and there is an app for everybody. Christian, Jewish, gay, straight.
farmers. I think that's actually
It is a thing.
So what do you think of modern dating today? Because today is Valentine's Day, and we have a lot of young singles working on our staff, and they don't have a matchmaker to help them, so we're cutting to the chase. So what is your best advice? How do they meet their person?
Yeah, how does my son meet his person?
Yes, I can. First of all, just bring him to me.
Thank you.
I will flirt to convert. No.
Thank you. Thank you.
Just kidding, Sunny. But
she's not married, apparently. So she is the matchmaker. She's not married. Oh, that's a mystery. Why isn't anyone marrying her? Like, don't Muslim men love this kind of flamboyant boss babe? Wow. She needs to match herself first, I guess. Like, how are you taking her as a matchmaker when she's not even married? Like, what does that tell you?
I don't want to rob the cradle. Honestly, my best advice is if you are really approaching the apps with an intentional idea of what you want, like there's hookup culture. You want to do hookup culture, you can do hookup culture. That could be your intention. But if your intention is something deeper than that, then really take it seriously.
Yeah.
And what that means is also kind of being upfront about your intentions is very important on the app. Talking to one person and say, hey, like, I'm gonna deactivate my account. We're gonna move into a real like phone call, like phone number scenario. We're not gonna just stay on this app, and I wanna deactivate all of this because I wanna give you a chance. I wanna give you a real opportunity. And
why would you do that? Like, why would you give someone an opportunity and make that commitment? You don't know the person. Like, you know just some bio data. So why would you want to say, I'm going to give you a real chance? I'm going to turn off the app. Like, turn off the app for like one date and then turn it back on. Like, I don't get that mindset. Or like, what's the process here? turn off the app. Like, why would anyone make that kind of commitment? That's why, again, you need like a wali. You need arranged marriage. Like, arranged marriage is the solution. Let's be honest. Arranged marriage is the solution that's needed. And we have a course on Alesta Institute. We have a course on how to get married. Practical advice, Islamic advice, what to look for. And I co-teach it with my wife, Khaled. That's on Alesta. It's called Match Made in Jannah. It's like a 5-year or 6-year-old course. But people really think it's useful. But one of the things that we teach in that course is that you have an arranged marriage model. And the arranged marriage is the traditional system for getting married in Islam. And it means that the primary people who are bringing you the candidates, potential marriage candidates, is your extended family. Your extended family is who is facilitating, and then that's like a very useful screening process. That is a very useful screen. I'm not saying that it's foolproof. I'm not saying that there's no chance for mistakes being made, but at least there's a screening process, and then you have the potential to match with someone that is not going to be a complete loser, is not going to be a complete bum. They're going to encourage you to marry someone that is compatible with you, that does have the qualities that are valuable Islamically, like having good religion, having good akhlaq, having good character. So this system is there for a reason. This kind of tradition that has been practiced for 1400 years and longer, because this is a system throughout human history that has been practiced. It's there for a reason. We have these traditions for a reason. If you're going to destroy all that and instead go to Tinder and go to like a dating Muslim matching app, expect problems. Expect it to be dysfunctional. Expect it not to work or to not even make sense.
That's an easy way to check like if somebody's serious or not, right, about you. And I don't like say that should be your quick draw, like, oh, we're going to be serious and we're going to get married and how many kids do you want and I'm going to name them whatever. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't be crazy. But I think that you should, if you're really coming at it and saying, I want to be in a serious, long-term, committed relationship, then like make that really clear on your profile.
When you can tell.
Make that clear on your profile. I thought the whole point was Muslim marriage matchmaking, but apparently you have to make it clear on your profile. Also, what she said about intentionality is interesting because some of these Muslims, unfortunately, will hear that. Oh, intention. She's talking about إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ, the hadith. Oh, actions are only by intention. See, this is Islamic. I heard the simp imam talk about intentions. I heard the sheikha and the ustaza talk about intentions. This is Islamic. But intention or intentionality, like this buzzword that's being used, like the bigger function of that in society are people who want to evade the rules. They want to evade traditions. They want to evade what's required, the obligations and the duties that they have towards their family, towards their religion, towards tradition. All that doesn't matter. What matters is what's inside, your intention. What matters is having a good heart, being a good person. That's what matters. And then what they mean when they say their heart, they mean their hawat, their desires. Their desires, their shahawat, their lusts, their biases, their prejudice. That's what it means, follow your heart. As long as you have that, that's intentionality. Just focus on what you want and what you desire. This is what they're conditioning people to do. This is a disaster. This is turning all of society into slaves of desire. And then you're thinking that you're doing something so good. Like you're such a good person. I'm such a good person. I'm intentional about the things that I do. When I go and commit zina, it's intentional because my intention is because I have a good intention. So this becomes a way to just evade and dispense with all kinds of rules and regulations and traditions, not only in Islam, but in even just wider society. Like wider, even, because there is some standards, even in Western degenerate culture, there's a concept of being too much of a slut, too much of a whore. And even that, like, no. It's fine. You slept with, you have a body count of 250. That's okay, because you had the right intentions. Yeah, you have the right. No one should shame you for that. You did it all intentionally. You were finding yourself. You were just finding yourself. I was bedded by 250 guys in college because I was finding myself. So there's no problem. I was intentional. This is just a buzzword that women especially tell themselves to feel better about the terrible decisions and the terrible crimes that they've committed, basically. That's all it is. And now Muslims are adopting it. The sheikhs are adopting it. The simp imams. Oh, do you know the secret? The secret is intentionality. That's the secret. Just envision yourself. Just envision a better life. Envision what you want. Envision your desires. There's literally like institutes that are dedicated to teaching this concept. And it's Islamic because innamal a'malu binniyat, the hadith. Actions are only by intentions. So they've taken this kind of cultural concept, cultural, and it's coming from positive psychology. You have all of the self-help books, by the way. All of the self-help books that they sell teach this concept, intentionality. You have to have the intention. You have to have the intention to get what you want. And then you had some of these compassionate simp imams read it, and now they teach courses about that. They teach courses. They've established their entire institute around this concept in America. Mainly America, now it's being adopted in Canada, the UK, South Africa, and now Malaysia, Pakistan, Bangladesh is being spread worldwide. But it comes from this liberal concept within positive psychology of intentionality. You have to have the right intention. Really envision what you want. Really envision it, and that is what it will manifest. The reality will manifest as long as you have the right intention. So they're wrapping a kind of secular, liberal, materialistic concept in the Islamic concept of niyyah, intention, and then they're selling it to the masses. Like some of these courses, literally $1,000 course on this. $1,000, and this is the main thing that they're teaching. I'm serious. This is a business.
My husband said he was the one that informed me a lot of people go to these sites to hook up.
They do.
And then he said, but I could tell you were serious. From the deliberate way I answered things to the pictures I'd put up that looked just like me and all the things. So.
And the 300 questions.
Yeah, before she went with the serious responses, she had already been with, 300 guys, 200 guys. Oh, maybe 200 guys and then 100 we just fooled around. before I got serious. Yeah, that's a really great prospect. That's really what guys want.
Scares a lot of people, but don't be too scared about them. They're really just suggestions, a framework for you to make sure that you hit all of these categories. You don't have to ask them.
Give me one. Give me an example.
So, for
of one.
example, I have one that says, what is a big risk that you took that really paid off?
It's kind of a getting to know each other.
It's
That's
really,
a good one.
It's like deep. It's like, how do you actually define respect,
So
and who in
deep.
your life gave you that idea of what respect should look like?
Why do you ask about risk?
Because love is a risk.
It is a
And
risk.
if you're not willing to take the risk to be vulnerable and you're just closed off and
safe.
That's right.
And I mean, and safe could be, you could be safe and take a risk.
Yeah. That's what I mean.
You can take a risk from a safe place as well, which is like, I know myself, I'm secure.
So deep.
That's the safest place that you can be. I love myself. I look and feel my best. That's what I tell my clients, because if you don't look and feel your best, people will sniff that out. And that's unsafe from the get.
Yeah.
Because now you're looking for somebody and you
Maybe they're sniffing you out because you're a land whale. But yeah, love yourself, guys. Love yourself. Yeah, that's really what we should be telling women constantly. Like, love yourself. You're amazing. You're the most amazing, beautiful, lovely woman ever. Any man would love to be with you. Women are the worst, by the way, at giving other women advice. Like, isn't this known? Like, women are the worst. Like, if you're a woman, the last person that should be matchmaking for you is another woman. Like, I thought this was obvious. It's like, with guys, it's the opposite. You can expect a guy to be honest with you, and he's going to be your wingman, and he's going to tell you the truth. Like, men can also make mistakes, but they're far more objective than women. Women are going to destroy your life. Because they for some reason, they can't get past their jealousy. So the best woman who can be a matchmaker for you is someone who's old. She's like post-menopausal. She doesn't have the same hormones. She's not going to have this kind of hidden jealousy. She's not going to have this kind of hidden eye. Like an older post-menopausal or like a blood relative. The worst is like a peer. Like, she's your same age and she's not married, by the way. She's going to be your matchmaker. She's going to give you the worst advice. She's going to give you the worst advice. Like, oh yeah, he's amazing. It's like a bum. Oh yeah, he's perfect. Or the opposite, like someone good, like, oh yeah, I don't think the way that he answered that question, that I don't think he respects you as for who you are. And the way he said that, actually, his tone of voice, it was quite misogynistic. So I don't think this is good for you, actually. Like the way that women give each other advice is the worst. It's appalling, actually. I know this because of my own wife. My wife comes and tells me, oh, you know what my friend said? My friend said XYZ. I'm like, just shocked. Like, and you took that advice, or you considered that advice? That's like the worst advice. That's the worst advice possible. And I'm not saying that all of her friends give her bad advice. No, like her actually, mashallah, she has very good friends. But I'm saying other people, like other women, giving her advice, that's the worst advice possible. You should do the exact opposite of that. Like, that's just the reality. That's the reality. It's not to blame women. It's not to blame women, but that's just the way it is, especially when it comes to matchmaking. And so anyway, the women know what I'm talking about. Women know, or if you're married and you talk a lot with your wife, which I do, I talk a lot with my lovely wife, alhamdulillah. A lot of good communication with my wife. I'm a simp. I'm a simp. I talk to my wife, and we share feelings. So if you know your wife and you hear what she says about her interactions with women, it's like, oh, this is terrible. Like, women are the worst for this job of matchmaking. Like, young women who are themselves not married, for example.
To complete you, and that should not be it.
No.
You should be looking for a partner,
puzzle piece
to say, hey, we're gonna make a beautiful, bigger picture together.
I gotta tell you, I binged this show.
Yes.
And I loved it. It was so good and authentic, and you were so honest with everyone. I loved it, especially Fulani. You were like, clean up this kitchen, man.
I'm like, don't be junky. You're Muslim.
Don't be junky.
You gotta be clean.
I loved it.
But before we go, this is just a real quick mention that in our audience are the producers of the Muslim Matchmaker. I'm going to say that Sanan Keshki and Smriti Mundra. I hope I got that right. You're also Oscar nominated for your documentary short film, I Am Ready, Warden. So congratulations. So great to have you guys here.
Good for you.
And all your best friends are here, which is amazing.
Yeah, my besties,
and your new best friends
my besties came. My new besties came. Thank you so much. I love you. Hey, Bethany, I love you.
So thank you very much for coming by. We really like you.
I appreciate it. I like you too.
Muslim Matchmaker is streaming now on Hulu.
Okie dokie. So that's enough cringe for one day. That's enough cringe. Guys, stop calling me a simp in the comments. Come on, in the chat. Doormat, Daniel. That's why I can't share with you guys. That's why I can't share anything. You just call me a simp. I'm not a simp. I'm not a simp. I'm a man. I'm a manly man. I'm so manly, guys. I don't even look my wife in the eyes. I don't even acknowledge her presence. That's how manly I am. I'm a Chad. I don't even barely even look in my wife's direction. That's how Chad I am. Yeah, so let's analyze. I have some points that I wanted to share with you overall about this show. Some key takeaways. So the first takeaway is this is what happens when women are in charge. Let's be honest. Women being in charge of our community, of the American Muslim community, let's say, or the Ummah as a whole, when you have women in charge, you're promoting women leaders, you're going to get this. You're going to get this Huda or Yasmin. This is the kind of degradation, degeneracy that's going to be created when women are in charge. That's the reality. And this is because of the tendencies that women have. So women have a tendency to be non-confrontational. Women are non-confrontational. So when the culture says something like be liberal, be feminist, be secular, women are going to naturally have less resistance to that because they're less confrontational. They just want to hold hands and make alliances and build bridges. Women just want to be liked. That's their overarching impulse. I'm not saying that women can't be principled. They can. But they're far less principled than men. Men are far more confrontational. Men are far more likely to prefer principles over relationships, over maintaining a good relationship or a comfortable relationship. Women are the opposite. They prefer the relationship over principles. So if you have a situation where you're constantly promoting women as leaders and putting women in these leadership positions, you are threatening your community. You're threatening the perseverance of your community, your traditions, your values in the face of constant liberal secular pressure, political pressure, cultural pressure. And unfortunately, this is what the Muslim community has been doing very aggressively, extremely aggressively. So expect more of this, unfortunately. And I'm the only one who has been coming out for years saying that, great, you understand the dangers of feminism, but if you truly understand the dangers of feminism, then you need to stop promoting women's leadership. You need to stop promoting women's empowerment. This is exactly the opposite of what we need to do. Who else has been saying that? That's been my message. I've debated it. I've presented on it ad nauseum, over and over and over again. But do people get the message? No. Are these masajid, are these community organizations, are these institutions getting the message? No. still promoting the same thing because they're simps, because they can't see that this is a disaster. But alhamdulillah, I see it, you guys see it, alhamdulillah. And we have to keep advocating the truth and the true message. No women's leadership. No women's leadership. This is non-negotiable because you're going to get exactly what we saw with this Matchmaker show. So at the beginning, I asked the question, is Islam, like if we assume that this show is a representative sample of Muslims in the West, let's say, will Islam last into a second or third generation? And I think the answer is pretty clear. No, Islam is not going to last. And the reason is there's no mechanism to preserve Islam. There's no mechanism that is going to preserve those Islamic values. And the proof of this is look at any other religious group. That's what we started the show with when it came to Ramadan. But when it comes to any aspect of any traditional religion, that cannot be preserved when there's no mechanism, when there's no structure to preserve those values or those rituals or those religious institutions, the family institution. Those cannot be preserved. And the proof is look at the Christians, look at the Jews, look at the Hindus, look at the Buddhists, look at the Zoroastrians, look at all of these groups. And they're all following the same path. They're all going down the lizard hole, and Muslims are following them down the lizard hole. And people are not waking up to see why. Why is this happening? And it's depressing. It's very depressing when you go to a masjid or you go to one of these institutions, these Muslim organizations or these conferences, and there's no awareness. There's absolutely no awareness of what's happening in the wider Muslim population. There's no awareness and there's no effort to make a change. And the idea that everyone is going by is that, look, if we build a masjid and we build an Islamic school and we teach our kids like to memorize the Quran, then that's it. We've preserved Islam. Job done. That's it. We've done our duty. We built the masjid, we built the Islamic school, and we taught our kids Quran. They memorized the Quran. Job done. Islam has been preserved. That's unfortunately what the first generation of immigrants, they really believe that. And that's why this second generation that we just watched on this Matchmaker show, that's why they are the way that they are. I'm sure that many of them have gone to Islamic school. I'm sure many of them have been to the masjid, the beautiful, oh, mashallah, the beautiful multi-million-dollar masjid that we built. It has a dome and a minaret. We spent millions of dollars to build it in the suburbs or wherever. This is not how you preserve Islam. Islam is preserved historically because of structures, because of practices, because of institutions and roles and morality, traditions that are preserved. That's what preserves Islam. The people seem to think, Muslims seem to think that the way that we preserve Islam is we have to just have in our hearts this abstract concept of Islam. And you think about Islam very hard. You think about Islam and you memorize the Quran, you memorize a lot of hadith, and you think about it, and you really, really hold that. You remember that, and you convey that concept in your mind to your children, and then Islam will be preserved. And the reason that Christians lost their religion, and Jews and Hindus, they lost their religious beliefs and practices, is because they didn't really concentrate. They didn't really focus to preserve the abstract religious concepts. So if we want to preserve the religion, we just have to focus, build the masjid, build the Islamic school, memorize Quran, and we'll be fine. This is stupid. This is stupid, and it's completely backwards. Preserving Islam means preserving structures, preserving institutions, practices. What are these institutions and practices and structures? Okay, number one, kinship ties. What happened to the extended family? What happened to the Muslim family? being disintegrated, just like the Western family. Just like how the Western family, over the course of 1,000 years or 1,500 years, went from nuclear families or extended families to now nuclear families, and now even nuclear families have been destroyed. Over 50% of children are born to mothers who are not married. So there's no commitment that a father has. The extended family has been destroyed. The nuclear family has been destroyed and gutted. What has contributed to that? We've talked about it so many times. We've given all of the statistics, the marriage statistics, marriage rate plummeting, divorce rate rising, number of children per family plummeting, connection with extended family like your cousins, like your aunts and uncles, completely gone. People are physically moving away from each other. Or even the cultural practice of once you hit 18 years old, you leave the house and you have to go and be your own independent person when you reach 18 years old. This is not an Islamic concept. This is not a traditional concept. But that's being adopted by Muslims. So now people are living far away from their families. That's what being progressive and modern means. If you live at home with your parents, that's backwards. This is cultural. We have to be free. Be free. Pursue your independence. This is destroying the extended family. So without that extended family, without the ties of kinship, without the practice of silatul rahim, maintaining the ties of kinship, without any of that, you don't have a structure. You don't have the family structure. So how are you going to preserve Islam? Like, how are you going to preserve Islamic values? How are you going to protect against zina, for example? How are you going to prevent against the loss of haya, the loss of hijab, the loss of all of these important Islamic values? Just teaching the abstract concept of haya is not going to do it, is not going to be sufficient. You have to have a supporting structure. And that structure is being systematically destroyed by the cultural values that Muslims are adopting from liberalism, from feminism, etc. So that's one structure. Patriarchy is another structure. The authority of men. That's being systematically gutted. Every masjid has to have a woman co-chairman. Every organization has to have women on the board. Every conference has to have women on stage teaching alongside the simp imam. So the idea of male authority is being gutted, and instead we're promoting women's authority. Women are the boss. Women have to be empowered. Women have to be leaders. Women have to have the advanced education, the careers. And we're all supposed to support this, and we're all supposed to cheerlead this. You're destroying a huge institution, a structure of patriarchy that is so critical to the functioning of society, the functioning of marriages and family. And who is causing this destruction are these simp imams, these compassionate imams. And obviously, the biggest structure that is destroyed is hierarchy. And at the top of the hierarchy is who is the imam, Amir al-Mu'mineen, the Khalifa. Islamic laws and regulations, that's all been destroyed. That's all been destroyed even in the Muslim world. So you can't even enforce the hard and fast rules of Islam. You can't even enforce marriage laws, family laws, inheritance laws that are prescribed in the Quran and the Sunnah. You can't even enforce that. So that's off the table. Okay, that's been off the table for 100 years. And where is the desire to bring that back? But let's even assume that you can still have some semblance of Islamic marriage, some semblance of Islamic family without the Khilafah, without Khalifa. Let's just assume that. We have to assume that. Otherwise, we're going to be really black-pilled. Like, why even get married? Why even try to live your life and have children? Because there's no Khalifa. Okay, so we have to swallow that bitter pill that we don't have khilafah, but we still want to try to have my children be Muslim. Like, is that too much to ask that my child be a Muslim and not like fall into kufr and shirk and not fall into zina and not fall into these major sins, not be a drug addict? Like, is that too much to ask? That I want that for my child? Like, I don't want my child to be depressed or to have, wanting to end his life. Like, can I have that desire for my children or my grandchildren? God forbid my grandchildren be Muslim? Is that too much to ask? Okay, well, if that's what you want, for your children and grandchildren, what kind of structures can you inculcate? What kind of community can you create? What kind of values can you teach in order to preserve that? There are certain things that you can do. You can oppose women's leadership, for example. You can insist that, look, when my child is 18, I'm not going to just send him off. Or if I do, if he goes off, then I'm expecting him to come back after a while, maybe. We're going to have I want all my children to be in the same city as me, as long as I live. And I want to have many children. I want to have many children so that we have a strong extended family with lots of cousins. And I want everyone to be together. And I'm not going to follow these simp imams that want to reform Islamic law, that want to make divorce easier for women, who want to change inheritance. And I'm not going to follow these reformists, even though they have a beard and they say Quran and Hadith. I'm not going to. These are decisions that you can make. Structural decisions that you can make for your family. For your future. Are you making these decisions? Are you teaching gender roles to your daughter? There was someone who in the chat who asked, well, what can a father really do? Plenty. The father can do plenty. But there's not even an attempt. That's what's so disturbing. Where is the attempt to do this? Am I shouting in an echo chamber? Why aren't people getting the picture? They're not getting the picture. It's quite disturbing. It's disturbing because this is the future of the ummah. It affects you personally. Maybe you don't care about the future of the ummah. You only care about yourself. Well, do you care about getting married? Do you care about having children? Do you care about your children being Muslim? Do you care about your grandchildren being Muslim? If you care, then why aren't you taking the steps that are needed? And there's a lot that you can do. So, without an institutional effort, there's no way for the Muslims to resist the cultural pressures, the political pressures of liberal secularism. So there's no way. I hate to break it to you. So expect to see exactly what we just saw in that Matchmaker show. And don't think you're safe in the Muslim world. Don't think that you live in Turkey or you live in Egypt or you live in Morocco or you live in Malaysia that you're safe from this. It's coming very fast. Okay, your children, if you don't take the steps necessary, you don't make the structural changes in the decisions that you make and in your environment, your locality, your children are going to be in that same boat as what we watched. Hate to break it to you, bad news. I'm the bearer of bad news. And the bearer of bad news is always unpopular, by the way. The bearer of bad news is always going to be attacked. It's always going to be attacked because I'm telling you something that's unpopular, that's something that's negative, but that's the reality. So that's my message to you as a reaction, an analysis. And I want to see what your comments are to what I said. So I'm going to look at the chat and the super chats in a second. But also, let's talk about how out of touch the Aqidah bros really are. Let's just end it with that. Because the Aqidah bro, what's your Aqidah bro? What's your Aqidah bro? Do you think anyone that we just saw in that matchmaking show knows what ulu is? Or knows what the sifat of Allah are? Like even knows what the concept of a sifa of Allah is? Do any of them know like what istighatha is? Do you think? Do you think they have the right aqidah on istighatha? Let's focus all our communal efforts and all the communal discussion on making sure everyone knows that this is the only right position on these issues on aqidah. And if you don't have the right position, you're a kafir or a deviant. Let's dedicate all our time to making sure that the whole... Because the reason, actually? The reason that ape... that gorilla had rock concert as her top priority in marriage is because she doesn't know that Allah is literally above his throne. That's why. That's why she had rock concert as her top priority. And she's going to reject any man that is has too much hair on his arms. Is because she didn't actually know the right position on istighatha. That's why. That's why I think. Don't you agree? She didn't have the right aqidah. So we got to straighten that out. We got to straighten that out. Like everyone, drop whatever you're doing and start writing articles and making videos and researching aqidah, and read Kitab al-Tawheed of Ibn Abdul Wahhab. That's the solution, guys. That's the solution. So imagine being that retarded. Imagine being that stupid. But these are literally the people that I have to deal with. Okay. All right, now I'm looking at the chat. Hudhaifa says, much love from Janine in Philistine. Ramadan Mubarak. Ramadan Mubarak, brother. May Allah protect you. And all the Palestinians, we are making dua for you constantly. May Allah preserve you and destroy these Zionists. Ameen, Ya Rabbil Alameen. And give you victory. Complete victory. Why aren't there any Islamic bodies on guidance without influences, agents, innovations, etc.? Avoiding misguidance in the modern era is hard. Yeah, this is true. Very difficult, but we have to take personal responsibility. Do what you need to do to spread the truth. Ahmed says, things to look for in a man, Iman, no, but tall DJ, yes. Yeah, he has to be tall and hairless, and he goes to rock concerts. That's what you gotta look for. Looks like the same people who went to Suhoor Fest. I heard of this Suhoor Fest, but I haven't looked into it. Is it just what it sounds like? A bunch of people going to like a festival and eating before Fajr? Which Muslim boogeyman, thank you for your super chat. Which compassionate imam allowed this monstrosity? Yeah, all of them did. Brother Muhammad, thank you. SUHAIB Webb said nothing in the show was haram, but that guy's trustworthy, right? Yeah, so where did he say this? I'm not sure where he said that. No traditional women detected here. No Islam detected here. Episode 115 of Ansari Advanced. SUHAIB Webb promoting this show. Okay. I don't know what Ansari Advanced is, but maybe I'll look it up. Bro, I have hairy toes. I'm cooked. We're all cooked, bro. Where I saw this, isn't the father also at fault? Being a passport bro is the move, it seems. Yeah, I mean, this is something you should consider before it's too late. for some, but it's difficult. Being a passport bro is difficult. You have to basically agree to live in a different country for a large portion of your time in the year. And you can't really bring your wife from overseas back to the US because she's going to be affected by the culture here. So it's a difficult situation. Oh, okay. Here's the exact episode. Episode 115, Weed, Sex, Vaping, and Alcohol During Ramadan with Sheikh SUHAIB WEBB. Please put it on the React and you won't regret. They get into it right away. Okay, I'll do that right now, brother. Thank you for being specific and with a super chat. I'll bring it up. Let me just read some of these other super chats, and then we'll see what SUHAIB WEBB says. Why would a Western mainstream media show promote this? Yeah, it's a mystery. When is Genius of Islam 4 coming? Inshallah, it's been delayed. A lot of production problems. Ibn Abdul Wahhab documentary coming very soon. This Ramadan, hopefully next week. Okay, I know I've been promising it. I think we're getting very close, but I mean, I'm kind of a stickler. I want it to be good quality. I want it to be really something that lasts. People watch it. So that's why it's taking long, but hopefully it'll be worth the wait, inshallah. All they want for Islam is to be manipulated and erased by their agents, as they've been doing so since the time of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I agree. Brother Fahad, thanks for your super chat. Reptilian Lord says, you're 10 years ahead regarding feminism. What do you see happening with the feminist question in the next 10 years with Muslim organizations? The Prophet ﷺ gave us the solution to this, or he said that you will follow them even unto a lizard hole. And then the companion said, you mean the Jews and the Christians? And the Prophet ﷺ said, who else? So we just, in order to predict where Muslims are going to be in 10 years, just look at what the Jews and Christians are doing. So they are just cultural institutions at this point. Like within Judaism, you have all of these different sects. Like you have the Hasidic, the Orthodox, the Conservative, the Reform, the Reconstructionist, I believe. And then this is the pure atheists. 50% of them don't believe in God. It's just like a cultural thing. Many Muslims are going down that path. Christians, same story. So unfortunately, like I wish I had good news, but this is the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We're going to be following them even into the most disastrous situation. That's why you have to hold on to your deen like holding on to a hot coal. It's painful. It's painful to hold on to Islam because of the pressure around us, wanting us to change. And feminism is this big issue. So for someone to say, like for you to say, we don't need Muslim women as leaders, you're going to get a lot of backlash. You're going to get a lot of heat. It's going to burn in your hand. That hot coal is going to really burn in your hand. But these are the kinds of things that you need to be saying. It's not popular. It's not popular. Even the red pill, like, okay, some people say that, oh, well, Daniel is just saying like these red pill criticisms of feminism. No, like I was criticizing feminism before red pill even existed. Point number one. Point number two, a lot of things that red pill says I disagree with and are un-Islamic. And number three, some of the things that I say are not said by red pill. Red pill is not against women advancing in education, women advancing in career. Red pill is not against women's leadership. That's not part of the red pill canon. So this is the future, unfortunately, of Muslim organizations, and it's partly because of their adoption of feminism and the refusal to push back against it. It's going to result in Muslims just becoming cultural, unfortunately, especially in the West and increasingly in the East. We're just going to be culturally Muslim. Like that guy on the show is like, oh, I've dated white women, I've dated Asians, I've dated whoever. I'm like the UN of dating. That's going to be the religious person. Why? Because he had a beard, and like maybe he goes to Eid Salah, like maybe he goes to Eid prayers. He's gonna be the mullah. That's your future mullah. And the other Muslims around him are gonna say, "Come on, why you gotta go pray and eat? Like, you're really old fashioned. Like, oh, you know, you've only been dating, like, you've only had zina 10 times or 5 times. You're so conservative. You're a prude." That's the future mullah. So I wish I had better news for you. These women don't have men in their households, only the youths. I wish I could disagree. Do you see liberal infiltration eventually deposing the compassionate imams and ushering in a sort of new age gynocracy and compromising YQ, etc.? Yeah, I mean, as I said, it's going to... the current compassionate imams are going to be deposed and displaced because they're not going to be liberal enough. And I'm not going to shed a tear when they become irrelevant because they have planted the seeds for their own irrelevance. They've taught the Muslim community to reject anything that restricts you and to be compassionate, be merciful. Anything that's not merciful is not a part of Islam. This is their explicit teaching. Be open to reform because of maslahah, because of what is the public interest. They're teaching these concepts, and then the future generations are going to be like, well, you're not even the future. This current generation is going to be like, yeah, you're too conservative. You're too restrictive. You are judging me for not praying 5 times a day. You're judging me for not fasting. You're judging me for not wearing, you know, a colorful scarf on my head. You want me to be like more... I can have my makeup on and I can flirt with guys and mix with guys, but you want my full head to be covered. That's too conservative. So they're gonna be discarded. And a new set of compassionate imams are going to come and be promoted by Rand and the CIA, basically. the new batch. Nikki says, Salam, brother. Wa alaikum salam. I think 20 to 25 years from now, nursing homes are going to be filled with Muslims since the women are getting married much later and having 1 to 2 kids. May Allah protect us. I mean... You're absolutely right, Nikki. You're absolutely right, sister Nikki. It's going to be a disaster. The whole point of having kids is not only that you have children to love, to hold, and to cherish. That's obviously the biggest joy of having children. But also your children are supposed to help you. Not only when you're older, but also like in your middle age. They help you, they collaborate with you, they partner with you. That's why most businesses prior to capitalism were family businesses. Prior to modernization, industrialization, most businesses were family businesses because your children are expected in agrarian societies, agricultural societies, to be on the farm helping you, working with you. Any kind of business you have, you're a blacksmith, you're a tailor, any kind of, you're a bread maker, you're a butcher. Your children are going to be helping you. That's one of the main reasons to have children. That's been destroyed. Like that practice has been completely wiped out because of industrialization and standards of education. And, oh no, you have to go make it for yourself. Leave the house at 18 years old. That's a psyop. That's a psyop that's destroyed the traditional family and the traditional family business. So that's one of the benefits of having children. The other benefit is that when you're old, who's going to take care of you? Well, it should be your children. But even the nuclear family, even the 1 or 2 children that people are having, there is no expectation that when you're old, your child is going to be helping you and taking care of you and providing for you. That's why there's so much concern about, oh, my 401k, oh, my investments, oh, do I have an investment? I have to invest and save up at least $1 million before I retire. Otherwise, I'm going to be homeless. Otherwise, I'm going to be homeless. Like, that's what a lot of Muslims think. Like, I was in the corporate world. I went to Harvard. Like, and the Muslims around me, like, that's the mentality that they adopted. They didn't have the mentality of, I'm going to get married ASAP And I'm going to have as many kids as possible ASAP because that's my retirement plan. The Muslims didn't have this mindset. These were religious Muslims. We're talking about 20 years ago. These were religious Muslims. No, their mindset was, I need to have $1 million. I need to work hard for the next few decades until I save up $1 to $2 million, and then I can retire, maybe at 65, and then I live off of that. That was the mindset of the Muslims at Harvard or the Ivy League. And they went on to be very successful, like, financially. And some of them were successful in terms of their personal lives as well. But the mindset is interesting, that there's no sense of your children being your retirement plan. So that's a good comment, Nikki, Sister Nikki. A lot of Muslims are going to be on welfare and nursing homes. Will you take part on the Global Ummah Retreat this year? I won't be in the Global Ummah Retreat event that's happening in the summer or May this year. But there's another Global Ummah Retreat event that's going to come later in the year, inshallah, maybe in October. And it's going to be dedicated to marriage, actually. It's going to be dedicated to the topic of marriage. So that hasn't been announced yet. So if you can only take one trip this year, maybe you should come to mine. It'll also be with Global Ummah Retreat, but you can always go to, if you want like more of a general retreat with some very good speakers, good scholars are going to be there. Inshallah, go to that. I advertise it on my Telegram page. I'll advertise it on Twitter as well. But I won't be in the May event. Just FYI. Freeman's World says, what is the solution given many and more Muslims will just unwisely ignore you and continue the road down institutionalized liberalism? We talked about the solutions. But, I mean, you have to take care of yourself, take care of your family. It's like the hadith that a time will come that the most valuable possession that a believer will have will be like a flock of sheep to tend in the mountains by himself. Like, that's one of the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So that indicates that there will come a time where you can't really depend on a community. You can't really depend on a society. You're going to be isolated. If you want to preserve your deen, if you want to preserve your Islam. Ridwan says, Islam started as something strange and will return. Absolutely. Hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. For those fasting, good reminder, please don't negate it with bad speech. Yes. Good reminder. Okay, let me pull up this episode that SUHAIB WEBB is supposedly on, talking about this show, because I'm interested. Okay, I found it. Let's watch this. Let me just pull it up. This is a good catch. So I had no clue about this, but I'm interested to see what they say. So this is a podcast. It's called Ansari Adventure. So you can go see that if you want. Oh, do you guys see this tiny? It's nice, right? This I used as a nice little thing here on the desk. Okay. Oh, before I react to, well, I'll do this later. I'll show you another controversy that was related to masjids and women's representation in the masjid. Actually, this. Why is it not showing? Oh, it's here. Just resize it.
So did you watch Muslim Matchmaker?
Oh yeah, first thing he says, did you watch Muslim Matchmaking? Okay, whatever, this is good enough. Okay, you guys can hear this?
Matrimonial?
Muslim
TV show?
The Hulu thing? The Hulu thing?
Yeah.
No, I didn't. Did you?
Yeah. I went to the freaking thing. I know the girl.
Yasmin Al-Haddadi.
Yes, Yasmin Al-Hadi.
Al-Hadi.
Al-Hadi. Oh.
Dude, how was it? You went to like the opening ceremony?
Yeah, I've known her for like 23 years. So she was when I was in Egypt.
I knew her for 23 years. Yeah, she's my student. She's my murid. Murida, yeah. I know her for 23 years. Okay, mystery solved. Mystery solved. Now we know. Now we know where this show has come from. Okay, so shout out to the brother who put the super chat. Because I had no clue that SUHAIB WEBB. I mean, I could have guessed. I could have guessed it. Like, if there's some kind of slop, like the most degenerate slop, and it's on mainstream media, like, it's a good chance that SUHAIB WEBB or one of these other compassionate imams are going to be... It's like only 2 or 3 of them, right? The big ones that are nationally known, like one of them is going to be involved. One of them is going to have a hand in it. So you guys can hear this. If the volume is good, press 1. So I want to go through the whole thing and you guys couldn't hear it. Press 1 if the volume is good. Okay. Great.
She was in Egypt.
SubhanAllah.
Yeah.
She's like a lawyer and a comedian.
She's kind of a genius.
Yeah.
She's a genius. Yeah, that's what came across when we watched that, right? She's really sounded like a genius.
I'm actually I'm supposed to be having her on, inshallah, soon.
Nice. I'll give you a nice... I'll let her know.
We follow each other on Instagram.
Let me know when you hit her up and I'll encourage her to join you.
Okay. Yeah, I'm thank you. I appreciate that.
No.
So how'd you feel about it? On the halal to haram ratio, how was it?
I didn't see anything haram. I mean...
I didn't see anything haram. What are you talking about? What's haram about it? Oh my God. Oh man. So this is the guy who was calling me out as a liar. Remember that? Remember that whole confrontation with SUHAIB WEBB? If you haven't seen me debate SUHAIB WEBB about his promotion of Playboy magazine, he also didn't see anything haram about Playboy magazine. He didn't see it. There's nothing haram about that either. So it's no surprise that he didn't see anything haram about this show. He's very consistent. Like, mashallah, Imam Sheikh SUHAIB WEBB, he's very consistent. Graduate of Azhar University, is very consistent. There's nothing haram here. clean bill, clean endorsement, fatwa. This show, nothing haram. Watch it. It's great. The show about this genius. The genius Yasmin. My Murida. She's a genius. Watch it.
I think you have people's lives that just that's how they live.
Because she was on The View about it.
Wait, what?
Yeah,
On the halal to haram ratio, how was it?
I didn't see anything haram. I mean, I think you have people's lives that just
What? So he said, I didn't see anything haram. Well, I mean, and he looks at the camera like knowing look, like what? Does that mean yes, there is something haram or not? Like, why are you giving us mixed signals? Like, why are you? Is this like flirt to convert? Are you like giving us looks, like knowing glances, Imam Suhaib? Like, there's nothing haram. I didn't see anything haram, but knowing look. This is a farce.
That's how they live.
Because she was on The View.
That's how they live. That's how they live. So there's nothing haram. That's how they live. So there's nothing haram. Like they're going on dates. Like they were hugging each other, high-fiving each other, making jokes, making nice, lovey-dovey eyes at each other, talking about like I have to date for a year at least, maybe 2, ideally 2 years before I commit. Nothing haram, according to Sheikh Maulana Allama SUHAIB WEBB.
About it.
Yeah, I didn't watch this. So.
You didn't see that? Did you watch the whole season?
I watched the whole season. Yelled at my wife.
And
this interviewer is shocked. Is like, you watched the whole thing and you didn't see anything haram? Like these women aren't doing anything haram? Poor guy is like flabbergasted. I mean, this is a great way to start his podcast. Like, this is really good hook for us to watch the whole thing.
Who's on The View about it?
Yeah, I didn't watch this. So.
You didn't see that?
Oh, so you said The View. The View is what we watched, the clip. So he's saying, I saw the View clip, and he's like, so you watched the whole thing, and you didn't see anything haram about it, right? Right?
Did you watch the whole season?
I watched the whole season. Yelled at my wife.
And no.
Look at his face. Look at his eyebrows. If his eyebrows were any higher, like, and nothing. This poor brother, he can't believe it.
Thing haram in it.
What do you mean by nothing haram?
I don't know.
We recorded it.
He's getting defensive. Like, what do you mean? Are you trying to like interrogate me? I feel like you're Daniel Haqiqatjou. I thought this was gonna be a nice, soft interview, and you're interrogating me. Like, back off. What do you mean? Are you Daniel Haqiqatjou?
You're the sheriff. You should
tell me.
You should know. Wow, he said you should know. You're the sheikh. You should know. Wow, he's roasting SUHAIB WEBB even more than I did. He's roasting. Oh man, I wish I knew about this earlier. We have done this earlier in the show. Really good find.
Like, I can't retroactively go. Like, so what do you mean by?
I can't retroactively go back and say that, yeah, it does have some haram stuff. Is that what he means? Yeah, you can. You can say I made a mistake. I actually don't know what I'm talking about. I actually, like, it's just nonsense coming out of my mouth. I just wear this hat and I wear this nice scarf around my button-down shirt from Target. And I just pretend like I know I'm talking. I just said that there's nothing haram about it, but you want me to now retroactively go back and disqualify my statement from 2 seconds ago? Oh man, this is so embarrassing. I'm surprised that he allowed this to be published.
By haram, though. Like, what do you mean haram? No, but you're obviously thinking something happened.
You know, like, okay, like.
Oh man, this is a joke.
Are you projecting your own dark passenger?
I'm just saying, like,
onto this moment, or are you just like shooting?
I'm just saying. So if Hulu allowed a Muslim show, a Muslim dating show, you're telling me this?
It's not a Muslim dating show.
Oh.
It's not a Muslim dating show. Even though literally the first thing that they said is Muslims don't know how to date and we teach them how. This is literally in the trailer. That's the first thing that was said, right? You guys remember? Just go rewind it back. It's like this is not a dating show. It's all kosher. Nothing haram. Only kosher Islam is found. This is what Rabbi SUHAIB is telling us. Look at the bemusement. This pure-hearted brother, mashallah. This pure-hearted, innocent, sweet summer child. Look at his face. Look at his eyes. Like his whole reality is shattering in front of him. He's thinking, I guess Daniel was right. I guess Daniel Haqiqatjou was right. This guy is nuts. Look at his face. Like I can see everything. See everything that's happening.
What do you mean by, hold on. It's a Muslim matrimonial show.
Married.
He's being gaslit. SUHAIB WEBB is gaslighting him live, like just in real time. He's being gaslit. Look at his face. Like he's not buying it. He's not buying it.
Right. Like trying to get married. Those people met in public places. Like I didn't see them meeting in any like haram places.
So what's the idea?
As long as you meet. Again, this is like dating. Like what has happened? What has happened? Because I heard this with Muhammad Hijab as well, and I was shocked. Like, what is this? As long as it's in public place, there's no problem. When did this happen? When did this become like the norm that this is okay? And we saw the fatwa on Seeker's Guidance. Remember that episode where we went in depth on this institute that we lovingly, in the chat, lovingly titled Tweaker's Misguidance? It's Seeker's Guidance, but actually it's Tweaker's Misguidance. And they had all these fatwa about, oh, no problem, go ahead and meet in public. Man and woman, no problem. Young men and women, and have your tutoring sessions or meet for coffee, no problem. Like, what is this? This is shocking. This is absolutely unheard of growing up. Forget about my parents. My parents were very conservative, alhamdulillah. No going anywhere where there are girls. That was the rule in our house, alhamdulillah. But in college, in these same institutions, actually, 20 years ago, they very clearly, it's haram. It's not just, ikhtilat means mixing with the opposite sex. It doesn't matter if it's public or private. If there's no need for it, this is ikhtilat. Let alone like you're going for romantic reasons, and just because it's in public, it's allowed. This is shocking. I'm shocked when I hear this. I don't know when that shift happened, when that change happened. And that tells me that we have to double down. Conservative Muslims we have to really double down, saying this is absolutely unacceptable. There is no men and women, marriageable men and women, going and meeting in public and having some coffee, having a meal for marriage purposes. Completely unacceptable. If you want to get married, you go to her dad and you ask, and if her dad gives permission, then you sit at at that dad's house, at her father's house, where he's sitting there, or someone else is sitting there, is visible, or is like right there outside the door, so that there's no hanky-panky. There's no flirting. There's no, holding your little cup of tea or coffee, gazing into the eyes. So, sister, tell me about your feelings. Like, none of that. Because her dad is right there. He's going to come and slap you. He's going to come and smack you on the head. Like, what are you making googly eyes at my daughter and whispering sweet nothings into the ear of my daughter? Because that's what's going to happen. Inevitably, you have like a nice romantic date. Oh, it's public, so it's halal. There's nothing haram there, according to Mufti SUHAIB WEBB. But what's going to happen? It's like, look at like this. So, sister, tell me more. How'd you become so fine? Tell me more about that glow up, sister. Come here. I got to tell you something in your ear. Something is just in your ear. I want to tell you something, sister. Just come a little bit closer. Come on. Yeah. Let me whisper something. Oh, it's perfectly halal. It's public. We're in public. We're in public. This is shocking. This is really shocking. And I guess this brother is older because he's also wondering, like, what is going on here? Like, what is going on internally? He's freaking out. Like, what is going on? Where am I?
That they meet and then they decide
but
if they want to get married.
These two brilliant women.
Brilliant, genius women. These two brilliant, amazing. He's the ultimate simp imam, really. He's he hasn't met a hijabi that he didn't think was a brilliant genius. He hasn't met really, because he was promoting a lesbian. He's promoting Playboy model, like, oh, these are brilliant women, go support them. He's promoting like Ingrid Mattson, like this perennialist, deviant. They're all brilliant. These women are changing my life. So WEBB hasn't met a Muslim woman that he didn't think was a brilliant genius.
Who are gifted in unity.
He can't even take himself seriously. It's like just a joke to this guy. Like, they're gifted in what? In unity? He can't even keep a straight face. Oh my God. This is a disaster. Come on. He can't even say it without cracking up. That's how big of a joke this is. Like, I thought we were the ones who are laughing. He's in on it. He's laughing too.
Go on.
Cohesion. Right. So I guess I interviewed these people. They do like background checks and stuff, and then they say, yeah, like, hey, I'm sorry, guy. This lady got a podcast called, Sisters in the Cave, like Shoulder Calf. So we thought, hey, y'all could maybe it will work since you're a podcaster and she's a podcaster.
Right. Because those are the qualifications I'm looking for.
No, they're no.
This brother is secretly based. He's secretly a Chad. He's like, yeah, because I'll match with someone who has a podcast. Like, so it was like, yeah, you want a strong, brilliant sister, right? A strong, genius, ambitious who has her own podcast, right? It's like, yeah, because that's what I want. No, I want someone to get in the kitchen. I want a nice, obedient wife who's going to love me and take care of me and cook me good food and raise my children. That's what I want. That's what this brother, Ansari, is thinking. But he can't let it out. He can't. Brother, embrace the Chad within. Embrace the Chad within. Stop interviewing simp imams. This is a bad influence for you and your audience. Stop interviewing compassionate imams. This poison. You know it's wrong. Look at how he's humiliating you. He's gaslighting you on your own podcast.
I agree with you. I'm saying I agree with you.
No, they're going to start out with some kind of commonality. And once they get through the superficial, then they're going to ask you, like, what it is that brings you value. How do you export value? What are your negotiables? What are your non-negotiables? And you would do that Q&A. And then perhaps it's possible. You and, podcast lady. Yeah, man.
It's like just a big joke. This is just just a big funny joke. Your match is a podcast lady. Brilliant genius.
Well, speaking of podcasts.
Podcast Purda.
Purda?
Purda's like niqab in Desi culture.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, she don't have to.
Okay, so then what is it that you're looking for? You'd like to share with us right now?
No.
Why?
Hey, shit.
Maybe they're watching. Maybe those two ladies are watching. You can get a sponsorship deal.
I thought you were saying two ladies like my two wives. Shit, this is
Oh, are you going to start with two?
Shit, this is a Ramadan special.
No, but what's wrong with marriage?
We can't start off the Ramadan special.
But what's wrong with marriage?
I'm not saying there's anything wrong.
So are you planning to start out with two? Or are you looking for one?
I'm looking for whatever I was looking for.
I'm looking for whatever. Poor guy. whatever Allah will send me. It's like that guy on the chat. It's like, I can't find anyone to marry. I'll just take whatever at this point. 1, 2, 3, 4. Can't even find one. And then I'm here sitting with this famous imam, and he's suggesting podcast women. How screwed am I? How cooked am I? This guy can't even hook me up. This famous imam who apparently knows all these women, can't hook a brother up except with podcasters. It's like, I'm really cooked.
With me.
That was a punt right there. Like, if I've ever seen one. Yeah. That just shot right over my head.
Yeah. Sheikh SUHAIB WEBB, founder of Swiss Institute. Thank you so much for being on the Saudi podcast. Come on. It's smooth until you call it out.
What we talking about this other show for, bro? Talk about my show.
I was trying to find a way to scoot.
No, we weren't talking about your spouse.
No. We weren't talking about that.
All right.
I think we were talking about the Hulu special and the Ramadan special.
Yeah.
Fly Me to the Moon with Sheikh SUHAIB WEBB.
That's what you're calling this?
That's the intro.
Wow, that's very smooth.
You like it?
Yeah, credit.
Thank you.
Much props.
Anything else in this?
Decorations. We got a whole new set for this. And so for this.
Okay. I think that was it. So yeah, that was very instructive. Shout out to the brother who suggested this, reviewing this, because they talked about it on the show. Yeah, and I mean, this hopefully brings proof to what I was saying. These are the compassionate imams. That's the source. Like, don't think, because I made that claim, right? I made that claim at the beginning that the slop that you're getting from these hijabis, these colorful hot pink hijabi wearing sisters, they're getting it from the compassionate imams. And the compassionate imams are getting it from liberalism. Some of them are getting it from the CIA. Like, not literally the direct CIA, but they're getting it from countering violent extremism, CVE, prevent programs, FBI programs, etc. They're getting it from government. So then that's going to their students, like what we saw, and their students are creating these podcasts, these organizations, these TV shows. And then that gets picked up by Muslims who are in these media organizations, these secular Muslims, and they are pushing out this psyop. Watched by millions, potentially millions. So the source is the same. So I was right. There we go. Proven right again, vindicated again. That's, you guys are tired of me being vindicated, but we're so cooked. I would like to see women call out these women. Yeah, there are some women who do call it out, some good Muslim sisters. So keep it up, sister. The good sisters, mashallah, keep it up. Call out these bad influences, the compassionate imams. It has a lot of weight, actually. We're finished. He's a cool imam. You all are just jealous. Yeah, he's cool. That's the slang that the kids are using these days. He's cool. He's with it. Everyone is wrong, only Dan the man is right. Well, we're just watching this, right? I mean, are you being sarcastic? Because I'm not really getting the sarcasm. It seems like that's the truth. What did Jordan say? Everyone's saying Jordan. As a white man, I apologize for SUHAIB WEBB. Thank you, Jordan. No need to apologize, bro. No need to apologize. Another thing, before men dictate to women to stay home, they need to be first quality men and good providers, not toxic men who then abandon her with no education and no money. Yeah, that's true. Men shouldn't be bums either. But that's not the main problem that we have right now. That's not what's causing the marriage crisis. Is not men who don't know how to provide. It's women who are the problem, and men who don't know how to raise proper daughters. Those are the. So it's not just women. It's also fathers. Abdul, get the rocks. Any thoughts on John Cena turning heel? I'm not familiar with John Cena turning heel. Daniel, what do you think about one meal a day in Ramadan by eating iftar only to cut some weight? If you need to cut some weight, that's great. One meal a day, calorie restriction, you should do that. It can help you. I feel most Muslim men today are simps. I don't know what's the percentage, but there is, unfortunately, an epidemic of simping. Brother Muhammad says, Salam, brother. Wa alaikum salam. May Allah bless you during this holy month. Ameen. Please send prayers to the people of Syria as they're currently facing some civil unrest and the rest of the ummah. May Allah preserve the people of Syria and protect them from any kind of civil unrest. May Allah destroy the plot of the U.S. and the Zionists to destroy Syria or any other country who wants to destroy the Syrian people or infiltrate the Syrian people. May Allah destroy them and destroy their plots. Ameen. Civil unrest. I heard of some clashes, but I don't know if it escalated since I started the show 3 hours ago, but we'll check it out. Let's see. Assalamualaikum, Daniel. Love from Pakistan. Pakistan Zindabad, brother. Love our Pakistani brothers. There's a blessing in suhoor. Don't miss it. I agree. Good reminder. Okay, anything else related to SUHAIB WEBB? Yeah, that was a good clip to react to. I enjoyed that because it's shocking. It's shocking, and it just confirmed everything that I said in the actual reaction. University of Medina or Azhar, which one do you choose for Islamic education? Neither. I would choose neither of them. If I had a choice between those two, if I had a choice between only those two, then maybe Azhar would be better. University of Medina, it's like Madkhali Central. You'll just become a Madkhali, or you're going to have a really bad time because you're going to be boycotted by all the Madkhalis and Wahhabis there. And Azhar, like, unfortunately, there's going to be a lot of modernist influence in that. So if there's a third option, I'm going with that. If I only had to choose between those two, I'd choose Azhar. Okay, guys. So, hope you enjoyed the show. I've been losing my voice in the show because usually I need to like drink something for my throat, but I'm fasting, obviously, so my voice cracked several times, but what can I do? Hope you enjoyed the show. We're going to have more shows coming up in the rest of the month of Ramadan. the Ibn Abdul Wahhab documentary next week. I'm praying that'll be ready, and I'm hoping that you'll love it, and that'll be very educational. It's over 2 hours long, by the way. Over 2 hours. It's a very serious documentary, very informative, information-packed. If you can't wait a week, there's also a lot of threads on Wahhabism that I've been posting on Twitter on my X account. So go and check that out as well. If you need some content on Wahhabism, you can always check there. And we're almost at 3 hours for the show, so I don't want to go into other topics. But I wanted to address the Syria situation. I wanted to address Trump's comments on Palestine. There's also that whole Uthman Khamis situation where he called out Palestinian resistance as deviants, and I made a video about that. Check out that video if you haven't already. But I analyzed his comments and critiqued them, so check that out. And inshallah, we'll be back very soon. Within a week, I'm thinking, maybe even sooner, inshallah. But until next time, leave your comments. Let me know what you think. Thank you for everyone who contributed super chats. Make sure you subscribe to the newsletter. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. And leave your comments. Really appreciate it. And we will see you next time, inshallah, on the next episode of Haqiqatjou, bi'idhnillah. Enjoy the rest of your Ramadan. Make sure that you pray for Palestine. You pray for Syria. You pray for Kashmir, you pray for the Rohingya and the Muslims in Bangladesh and all over the world. In Sudan, the Muslims in Sudan are facing a very difficult situation as well and being killed. So pray for our brothers and sisters in Sudan as well. And in your qiyam, in your tarawih, when you're breaking your fast for iftar, those are the moments where prayers are accepted. This is when we have to be making dua to Allah. So don't lose that opportunity. And if you remember me in your prayer, I really appreciate that as well. Pray that Allah forgives me and that Allah forgives me and protects me and accepts my dawah and my work. I really appreciate it. And my family as well, because they support me. So until next Haqiqatjou, inshallah, I will see you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.